Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio, and a fine Libations Friday to you and yours. Loosey-goosey edition of the program, as we're wont to do on a Libations Friday. Yes, it's also a 6th annual Libations Friday Fest edition of the Jeff Cameron Show. We'll see you at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill if you have the time. Why don't you swing by and say hello? In fact, the first 250 of you that do it get a free shirt commemorating the event tonight from our great friends at Full Press Apparel, who have come through for us over the years with outstanding work. Thanks to all of our loyal listeners and customers and those that ensure that this job continues to be a lot of fun and something we're able to do, frankly. Without your support, we couldn't. Hello, Tom.
Well, hi there, Jeff. How are you?
I'm great, man. How are you?
Hanging in, buddy.
Good. By the way, ESPNTallahassee.com, the website. There you go to listen live via the streaming free always. And if you're not listening to the radio, that is, or using the app, the WTSM app, which is free for your mobile devices. Doesn't matter if it's an Android or an iPhone. You're good to go either way. You can email the program, jcs@979espnradio.com. By the way, I've read a lot of them lately. I haven't gotten back to a lot of people, but I have read your emails, and I appreciate that. Keep them coming, including some of the ones that were informative that had to do with something I mentioned on yesterday's show with the passing of Anthony Washington. I got everything, guys. Thank you so much, and appreciate your input there. On Twitter, it's @JCameronShow, and we're on YouTube, ESPN Tallahassee. If you type that in on YouTube, you'll find us as well. The weekend games, they exist. It's a thing. It's going to happen. FAMU playing tomorrow. Let's go Rattlers. Let's get it right. Start the year the right way, and from there, that's at noon, by the way, on ESPNU, and then from there, a bunch of football games. So, we can exhale, right? We can stop that, that restlessness at night that plagued you. That goes away now. There's always something to turn to.
Hello, my friend, hello.
Yeah, I think the best game of the weekend is without question Oregon State and Colorado State. That figures to be a relatively decent game. And give me Colorado State and give me BYU and give me, South Florida over the weekend, right? Although I'm not using spreads in that give me conversation. That's a different deal. I'll get to that momentarily.
That's reserved for a Thursday, perhaps, unless there's an H to the N. Is there an H to the N in the cards later on today?
Maybe a hell nah. I'm looking at you, Rice. There may be a hell to the nah later on this afternoon. Who knows? It's exciting times to welcome back the hell to the nah team of the week, right? By the way, those sponsors I alluded to and those that have contributed to the fun we're going to have tonight deserve their recognition for their support. Let me do that right now. Thank you, Saltwater Seafood Company, for the dinners you're providing. Some lucky raffle winner, right? Couple of those.
Dinners for 2 and an app. That's what you get.
Boom! Doing things. 8 different 6-packs of craft brews from Cigar City and Oscar Blues. That doesn't suck. We had a mixer, too. We got, mixed 12 packs of Cigar City, 2 of those, and Oscar Blues deliciousness as well. 2 rounds of golf from my friends at Klarn. They don't even know they're doing that, but they'll be all right. We got it like that at Klarn. It's all right. These are my friends. These are my peeps.
All right. We'll be taking names down. That's what we'll be doing.
Yeah, $25 gift cards to Metro Deli. Also our friends. Great people there. And, hey, our folks at Jersey Mike stepped up as well. Going to cater some lunches at your office up to 10 to 12 people. That's good. So you can't be a huge office, just a medium-sized office.
Yeah, or for the elite within the big office.
That's right. Yeah, they get it. George does a great job over at Games for Less, and he's provided a couple gift certificates. The new Madden is out. Go by, pick it up, maybe with one of the gift certificates you win tonight, huh? WarChant.com, been on board with us forever, and we've been on board with them for a long time. Annual subscription to WarChant plus a WarChant.com T-shirt going to be given away in a tumbler. Seventh Hill Tap Room right below the Corner Pocket, one of my favorite places on the planet. Has delicious beer, a bounty of it, and perhaps you'll sample it with one of the gift cards you win tonight.
14 self-serve taps, sir.
Yeah, and the crowlers, lots of crowlers. That's a good thing. How about that?
Buy one, get one half off from happy hour between 4 and 7 p.m. every day.
Damn right. And 100 wing, couple of these feasts, 3 domestic pitcher wing feasts at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Also, 3 $20 gift cards to Bubba's Pizza. If you've not been to Bubba's Pizza, it's just below Corner Pocket. A 50 wing feast given away at the raffle as well from Hooters. Thank you, Hooters. And, also I should note that if you get there right on time, first 250 in, get that shirt, but also maybe you'll want to sample some of the offerings from Crown Royal. They'll be giving you product samples.
There you go. Sample some product. That's what you should do.
Dabo Swinney gets paid big time. That's the big college football news. I'll get to Florida State momentarily, but the overview here as we embark on yet another season, it's always enough to make me smile, realizing that we get to do this for a living and cover and talk about, analyze, critique, praise, all that has to do with the world of football. But Dabo Swinney, closely on our radar every year, given that they're in the same division and have emerged as the chief rival to Florida State University, because these days a couple teams in the state of Florida really aren't all that competitive. So here's the thing about Clemson and Dabo Swinney, more importantly. First and foremost, I was wrong about Dabo Swinney. Just got to say it. There's no other way around it. It's the truth. I thought Dabo, for the early stages of his career especially, and it kind of etched in my memory, was a bit clownish. And I said as much. Described him as a bit of a buffoon. It turns out he was crazy like a fox. He was inhabiting a character, if you will, that related very well to young, impressionable high school football players. And that, first and foremost, along with the knowledge to know what you don't know and the hiring of other folks who do, really proves his acumen as a leader and head coach. He turns out to be exceptional, and Clemson is too, currently. And thus, I think that's a smart move from Clemson. He's still young. He's in the prime of his career. They're coming off a national championship a year after they're just playing for a national championship in the previous season. So he's earned it, and he's earned my respect. And I got to say it, sometimes you're wrong, and I was on Dabo Swinney. You can't win 14 games last year, 14 games the year before, 10, 11, 11, 10 in the seasons before that. A perennial power. He's had significant victories, including the one over Alabama just a year ago. But, you think back on it, they've beaten Ohio State. They've beaten LSU. They've beaten a lot of powerhouse programs consistently and had success. So, I was making fun of them after that Orange Bowl where they gave up a record number of points to sorry-ass West Virginia. I thought that was the continuation of a poor decision by Clemson to hire Dabo Swinney. I thought that the early indicators when he lost 5 games and 7 games early in his career were going to play out in a way that didn't benefit Clemson or him long-term. Turns out that I was wrong. He surrounded himself with smart people, Brent Venables being one of them, and he continued to recruit exceptionally well. Clemson has bought in $55 million in the football facility, and they're rolling right now, and it's up to FSU to unseat Clemson in the Atlantic in the ACC's penthouse and to take back what we think is rightfully ours here at Florida State. But until that time, Clemson rules the roost, and that's because of Dabo Swinney and the job he's done. So congratulations to him and Clemson fans everywhere. That was a good contract extension for Dabo Swinney today.
Yeah, he ends up getting his money back because he gave some back into the coach's pool to make sure that he could get elite assistants, elite coordinators. And for me, I knew this was coming all along, man.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Ever since 2010 when he was trying to pass his way to a victory here in Tallahassee when he was running up and down the field against
inside
our defense.
the 10 for no reason, going 5 wide, throwing it into Florida State secondary when, in fact, they were gaining 6-7 yards a pop on the ground. Yeah, he's made mistakes, but I'll tell you this, Tom, and you're right. You were going to, I have a feeling, just knowing what we do, you're going to rattle off several instances in which it was fair for us to assess the situation as we did. But I do think we've watched a guy grow. I think we've watched him learn. And I think that outside of Nick Saban, and this includes Urban Meyer, outside of Nick Saban, you can't find too many examples where elite coaches don't have a handful, at least a handful, of eyesores, if you will, on the record, where you go, what in the hell were you doing? Because I can think of a few from Urban, and I can think of a few from Jimbo, and I can think of a few, obviously, from Dabo and almost any other coach, save for Nick.
Yeah, no, Urban's got him. Ole Miss or Virginia Tech at home. And,
sure, no, he's got plenty of them. Well, in his final years at Florida when they're losing 6 games.
But, I thought it would be a fait accompli for Dabo when he was here in 2012 jumping on the backs of his kickers, for making 48-yard kicks.
In the first quarter?
In the first quarter of the game, just celebrating. Like he just won the national title that he would win 4 years later. I knew he would win that title when I saw the passion he had for his special teams.
Well, I thought right after they won that Russell Athletic Bowl, boy, they were on their way. But I'm serious now. All jokes aside, it's worked out. He's become a very good coach. They came up just short from winning the national championship in the Orange Bowl and then turn around and do win it last year in the Fiesta. And they've had their moments. Prior to that they'd won the Orange Bowl, they'd won the Chick-fil-A Bowl, they'd won that Russell Athletic Bowl, the aforementioned. They won the Orange Bowl, as I said. They won the first round of the playoffs. So they've.
You beat Urban Meyer twice. The second time you shut him out. That is
beat that ass.
Talk about an ass kicking. You get to the playoffs, it's a successful season.
Beat that ass.
Still, you don't want to get shut out in the playoffs.
Oh, humiliated.
Oh no,
yeah.
And he beat Oklahoma 2 years. One was with Cole Stout. He beat Oklahoma
soundly with Cole Stout. That makes no sense.
Yeah, 1-1 against Alabama. He beat us. Here in Tallahassee, and obviously holding serve at home back in 2015. So, yeah, what's left to do? Well, establish a dynasty. Establish yourself in the class with Nick Saban and Urban Meyer. That's the exact same goal for our head coach here in Tallahassee. Who's going to join that collection of the game's brightest 2? Can they make it 3?
Yeah, I think it's always interesting because when you win that national championship relatively early in your career, and then from that point forward, you are now in a very elite company, obviously. If you look around the landscape of college football, aren't too many people coaching with national titles under their name. And so, we go back and we've seen several of these guys have retired. Bob Stoops walks away from the game, had a national title. Steve Spurrier walks away from the game, had a national title. So the pool of coaches, again, that are currently atop football and have that honor, few and far between. Dabo's one of them. Obviously, Jimbo Fisher's one of them. Urban Meyer, Nick Saban. I think that's it, right?
Yeah, Les Miles got fired.
Yeah, no,
so
I think that's it. And so having said that, what you end up having to do and trying to do is sustain a level of excellence that's almost unfair to expect, and also to find your way back. See if you can get that second national title. Now, Urban Meyer has one, but that is really, historically speaking, very, very difficult to do. Think about how early in his career Bob Stoops won a national championship at Oklahoma and spent the rest of his time having a lot of success, a ton of success, but never won another one. And I think we sit back when these guys enter that realm and we compare and contrast each season to this standard of a championship or nothing, which isn't always fair. Most of these guys keep their jobs winning 10 and 11 games every year, and it's only many years later that you say, in retrospect, look at all the guys that can't do that. That's a really hard thing to do. And they leave us wondering, is it going to happen again? Is it possible? Does Florida State have it in the cards this year to win a national title? Obviously, if they beat Alabama to start the season this year, that's the first place we're all going to go to. That's the first thought we're all going to have, is that if you beat Alabama, first game of the year, you're likely making your way to the college football playoff.
Yeah, there was something you said a couple of weeks that really resonated, and I was thinking about it. You do that a lot. I think about things you say, and sometimes
I
ponder on them.
Have my moments.
And it's true. This is about, just thinking about college football in general. If you're looking at a different program, not the one that you're a rabid fan of, right, or you hyper-cover, or maybe both, like us. If you saw the schedule that laid out in front of any other university and it looks anything akin to what we had this year, you're saying, man, they're a good program. They're a really good program, but I don't expect them to be in the playoffs.
But good luck with that.
Right. I don't expect them to make it the playoffs this year. And yet, the expectation around here, even if you're down on the Alabama game, you're thinking we rebound and then we roll and we find our way into the ACC title game, win that game, most likely win that game, and make our way to the playoffs. It's just, I find it interesting as now we're a week away from Florida State and Alabama and looking at the daunting schedule because, again, it's not about the vacuum matchups. It's about the context and the exhaustion factor, the attrition. That's a hell of a test to go 11-1 in. Really, honestly, if we're getting down to setting an over-under win total for Florida State, maybe it's 10.5. And that's a tough number if you're in Vegas betting on us. That's a good number.
It's the question Bill Connolly asked, and he does a great job in their latest college football preview. I believe I'm paraphrasing because I read it earlier. It was Florida State is likely one of the best 3 teams in college football. True, but will their record indicate that? And that's what we're talking about
exactly.
here. You know, I mean, when you have the schedule Florida State does, you could be one of the best teams, but week to week, when you're tested that way, it's very difficult to sustain an emotional high to go along with the physical wear and tear.
Clemson could have lost how many games last year? 3-4 games?
Well, they did lose to Pitt. They should have lost on a chip shot to NC State, and if not for some poor officiating in Tallahassee, they lose that game for sure. So could have lost that game. I guess in theory they could have lost the Auburn game. They didn't play all that well there. They won that game, but they didn't play that well.
So conservatively call it 3 they were at risk in?
You know, it's funny, by the way, people who cover Clemson, and I talked about this up in, and just a quick aside to your point. So in Charlotte at the ACC meetings, talking to people who cover Clemson on the ground on a daily basis, the scuttlebutt there in Clemson, South Carolina, was that Dabo's done a better job of coaching in previous seasons to the one in which he won the national title. They thought he did a terrible job coaching last year. That if you think about it, if not for a break, a gift from the football gods that a guy shanks a 20-yard kick, they lose that game. That the decision against Auburn, remember early in the year, he played that fourth quarter. He was terrible.
Oh, yeah.
It was crazy.
Put him at risk.
Yeah, put him at risk. So he made some decisions that would leave one questioning, crunch time decisions from the head coach. And yet they always, all but one time, the Pitt game, found a way to kind of wiggle around it and get to ultimately where they needed to get to, which was the playoff. And from there, you doff the cap because obviously it's very impressive what they did. But there were lots of instances where his decisions would have been really scrutinized. We'd be talking about that right now instead of Clemson's run. But that's the fine line.
It is. It's incredibly fine because there's also a Louisville game. You know, we don't even mention that, but Louisville was...
they should have blown Louisville out. They were beating their ass, but they
should have, but it gets to the fourth quarter.
Well, that wasn't a coaching mistake. That was a turnover that changed the tide and a phenomenal performance from Lamar.
I'm not talking about Dabo. I'm just saying, what games are they at risk to lose? I mean, if the kid steps 1 yard or 2 yards more to his right...
Yeah, they could have lost Louisville, should have lost to Florida State, should have lost on a chip shot field goal to NC State, could have lost to Auburn. A lot of woulda, coulda, shouldas there, yep.
Okay, so look at what we did against North Carolina next year. What I'm doing is I'm pointing towards that NC State game. I know that it's here, so we don't have that same kind of fear in our hearts the way we do when we go up to Raleigh-Durham on a Thursday night or a Saturday night. They have the state fair in town, and people are peeing on each other. But all that said, it does appear in a place on the schedule where you're vulnerable. The Pitt game that Clemson lost was the week after we should have beaten them. You know, they're emotionally exhausted. They come back home to play that game, and yet there's Pitt, and Pitt beats Clemson. So it's just, again, when you look at this schedule and you bring context into the conversation, if we were to go 11-1, in some ways, I feel like that's more impressive than maybe the 12-0 in 2014 with all the comebacks, just because you're being tested at every point in the season, twice in November, 3 times in September, and then the ultimate revenge game in the middle with the reigning Heisman Trophy winning quarterback.
You know what we don't do? We haven't done it. You or me, and I don't know why it's kind of segued into this other area of question marks for Florida State and or strength. We've ignored one thing. It got a lot of play as soon as the season ended. Got a little bit of play even in Charlotte, but we really haven't talked about it since. I'll tell you what that is next. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Blountstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Today.
Parker Brothers Roofing says don't play games with your roof. Protect your home and your family. The Parker Brothers tell you the truth. We'll fix your roof, cause it's what we do. With quality, integrity, and pride. Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
Hey, this is Travis with Parker Brothers Roofing. No one besides us wants to hear that you need a new roof. It's one of the biggest home improvements you have to make, and Parker Brothers Roofing understands. We now offer financing for 0% over 60 months. Yes, that's 5 years. Call us today for 5 years interest-free financing on that new roof. 656-8112. That's 656-8112, or go to parkerbrothersroofing.net.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
License number CCC 049350.
Woohoo! Banditos!
Huh? Where?
Banditos burritos, baby.
Bubba's Pizza on Appalachian Parkway, home of delicious New York-style pizza, calzones, Phillies, and salads, is celebrating 2 years in Tallahassee. Haven't tried Bubba's? Stop into the Appalachian Parkway location downstairs from Corner Pocket Bar and Grill today. Today only, $1.50 cheese slices and cans and bottles of beer. That's Bubba's Pizza on Appalachian Parkway.
I have known for some time now that some insurance companies are not exactly being truthful with their customers, stating such things as if you do not use one of their approved body shops, they will not guarantee the repairs, or it may cost you more out of pocket. Here at Lisa's Paint and Body Shop, the work we do is guaranteed for as long as you own your vehicle. Lisa's Paint and Body Shop, 385-2665.
License number MP46050.
So your AC is on the fritz? Call Barano Heating and Air Conditioning for help, day or night. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, 580-4029 or baranoac.com. Florida license number CAC 057652.
Shop Lowe's and take advantage of early Labor Day savings with great deals for your home inside and out. Refresh your walls or renew your deck with $10 to $40 off paint, exterior stains, and resurfacers. And if you've been craving new appliances, get up to 40% off select appliance special values on some of the best brands in the business. All projects have a starting point. Start with Lowe's. Paint offer valid 8/24 through 9/6 via rebate. Appliance offer valid 8/24 through 9/13. Exclusions apply. See store for details. U.S. only.
Fire up the grills for another season of Seminole football.
2nd and 3, patient, then explosive, and a touchdown for the Noles.
It's Tallahassee Game Day, your ESPN Tallahassee pregame show featuring Jeff Cameron and Tom Lang.
Yeah, I like them.
Get the latest news, interviews, and insights 3 hours ahead of kickoff before the Noles defend home turf.
Hey, on Saturday, we're going to play a game. We're going to most likely win that game, and we're going to celebrate on Sunday.
Tallahassee Game Day is brought to you by Whole Foods Market, a leader in natural and organic food that brings the highest quality of local and global products to Tallahassee. Whole Foods Market, located at 1817 Thomasville Road, and presented by MMT Clinics of Florida. Visit mmtcfl.com.
To the pylon! That's a Seminoles touchdown!
You're listening to The Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
We don't spend a lot of time worrying about the fact that in terms of catches, DeAndre Francois is without his 3 top targets from last year because we thought 2 of those targets sucked and the other was average. So we welcome the fact that he doesn't have those targets this year and that we move into the fold more dynamic options at the position. We, in fact, celebrate that. But it's also something that I think to some degree has allowed us to largely ignore, well, at least after last year, the initial conversation as we looked back on what was and what we thought could be. We certainly talked of it, but we haven't since, and I think it's just because they've recruited so well at the position. But in truth, ought we be a little bit more concerned about the fact that a certain running back named Dalvin Cook is not here anymore, given that he was arguably the greatest running back in FSU history and the ultimate security blanket for when things weren't going well? I mean, at times he was even that for Jameis Winston, who's a far cry better than DeAndre Francois will ever be. And that's not a shot. It's just that Jameis was the best quarterback we'd ever had as well. So no Dalvin Cook seems like something you can survive because you've got arguably 5 guys at the position that you really like and really trust. But none of them, in fairness, we don't think are going to be Dalvin Cook. And Dalvin Cook was an eraser. Dalvin Cook took situations that looked dire and turned them into a likely victory for Florida State. He did it against Miami time and again. He did it against Clemson. He did it against everybody. He was everything. And Jimbo so, I guess, trusted what Dalvin Cook was and what he could be to this offense week in and week out that he didn't even bother with anybody else. I mean, he had a guy who was productive who every time he touched the ball produced, and he could barely see the field. That's how much Jimbo Fisher liked Dalvin Cook. And now we got to rely, Jaquez Patrick and company, if you will. And I just wonder if we've ignored maybe a little bit more than we should the loss of Dalvin Cook.
We'll go back to that 2014 Florida game here in Tallahassee.
He was the guy, yeah.
He's the reason we won. You could argue he was the reason we won the 15 game down in Gainesville, too. Remember his ability and strength to stay in bounds on that pass. And then Well, I agree that when you lose the best of anything in your program's history, there's going to be a drop-off, and you need to do it by committee this year. We have done it by committee in the past. That's why what Dalvin was doing was so special. We weren't used to seeing somebody featured quite like Dalvin. Chris Thompson was for about 8-9 games before he got hurt against Miami back in 2012. But
cruising to 1,000 yards before he got hurt. That sucked.
To me, he was an eraser in the backfield. So can you get this current crop to the line of scrimmage and give him a fair chance? If you can do that more times than not, I think the production will be there. I think the numbers will be there. They won't be as explosive as Dalvin.
Yeah, they're good players.
But you got to give these guys a fighting chance to get to the line of scrimmage and or make a decision when you're running the outside zone. Give him a cutback lane. Dalvin created something out of nothing. He'd set dudes up and then get the corner. And that was not the call on the play. That's just the greatness of somebody like Dalvin Cook.
Vision and patience and then ungodly ability to go 0 to 100 in a millisecond.
It could be that one of these players on our roster is Chris Thompson type in terms of output and skill, Devonta Freeman type, but to expect them to be Dalvin Cook, the total package, where not only can he set you up, make you miss in a phone booth, but then take you for a house call on any given play, it's unfair to expect that's going to be in anybody's repertoire this season.
Yeah, not consistently anyhow, but I'm telling you now, as we sit here today, Amir Rasul is going to have a huge impact on this group, on this segment. He is going to have a big year. I really believe that. I know Jaquez Patrick goes into the season as the guy who's waited his turn, and he will be a steadying force, and there will be games where it's his afternoon. Amir Rasul, keep saying the name. He's going to have a big year.
I'm on Team Akers. I'm hoping that Team Akers doesn't turn out like Team Ryan Green,
Oh, well, I mean, that's a little unfair. I mean, I think the expectations for Akers are much greater than Ryan Green's ever were.
I totally agree, but I just don't want to be a jinx. I don't want to be, labeled as the guy who ruined Cam Akers. But I really think that if you can get that dude to the line of scrimmage, he's going to give you moments that don't look exactly the same as Dalvin Cook, but you're still going to have your breath taken away by what Cam Akers can do in the open field.
Well, from this point forward, all we can do now is kind of count it down, get excited, because the speculation is what we've engaged in the entirety of the summer. But we have at least had some information coming out of camp, and most of that information, if you missed yesterday's show, is really, really positive. I mean, again, you had a few setbacks with some injuries to guys that weren't starters. But by and large, Jimbo Fisher, I think, has been very pleased. And it's important to note something, and I'll do it here in a second when we come back from this break, that last year we didn't listen. I didn't, you didn't. I think a lot of people who cover this team, and probably people who had really paid attention to Jimbo Fisher's post-practice comments year in and year out in his time at head coach here, didn't really pay attention or take serious, or at least not literally believe everything he had to say. But if we learn a lesson from that, it's something that'll be interesting. We'll talk about it next as to project for this season. Jeff Cameron, Show 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You can tell a lot about a tractor by its warranty. That's why Mahindra makes the toughest tractors on earth. With steel, not plastic. Backed by the industry's best limited powertrain warranty, period. Not 5 years, not 6 years, but a full 7 years on select models. No wonder the other guys are green with envy.
No money down, 0% interest, and no payments until July. Available at TNT Supercenter.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
800 at checkout. That's Vistaprint.com. Promo code 9900.
Bama versus FSU.
Down the sidelines. Touchdown. Settle. Rumbling all the way to the end zone. Touchdown. Bama.
ESPN Tallahassee's Jeff Cameron is heading to Atlanta for Bama Beatdown. Brought to you by Fred Conrad, criminal defense lawyer. Remember, don't blow it. Call 222-4005.
If you've been suffering from a chronic illness and prescription drugs aren't working, it's time to seek alternative treatment. Dr. Joe Dorn provides evaluations and ordering of natural products for patients who qualify under the new Amendment 2 law. To make an appointment with Dr. Dorn or for a free e-visit, go to mmtcfl.com. That's mmtcfl.com. Visit Dr. Dorn at our Tallahassee MMT clinic on Capitol Circle Northeast, next to the Cake Shop. It's time to stop suffering and seek affordable and compassionate care.
If you haven't stopped into Tallahassee's favorite hangout, the Fourth Quarter Bar and Grill on North Monroe Street, you're missing out.
Hey, it's me, Courtney. Hey, it's me, Marissa.
Last but not least, I'm Kim, and we're the girls from the Fourth Quarter.
Okay, girls, there are lots of great nights to stop in at the Fourth Quarter, including Monday, where it's happy hour all day, including 2-for-1 Wells. There's Tuesday night trivia with Professor Jimmy, where you can win money. What other night should we stop by the Fourth Quarter?
It's Kim again. Join me Saturday and Sunday mornings for Bubbles and Brunch from 7 to 2. $18.99, all you can drink mimosas and Bloody Marys, and it includes breakfast.
Hey, Riss here. Come join me for lunch. We have over 20 lunch specials for just $7.50, and that includes a drink.
I'm Courtney. Visit me on Monday nights when we have 2-for-1 Wells, calls, and domestic drafts all night.
Don't miss out on the girls of the Fourth Quarter. Pick your favorite night and stop in. Say hi to the girls at 2033 North Monroe Street, the Fourth Quarter Bar and Grill, Tallahassee's favorite hangout.
We have more cars than we had last year. You want to put some up here? Then we're going to need a crane again.
Yes, that was me, Chris Kraft, up on the roof of the dealership last week looking for a place to store our overflow inventory. But this year we have the perfect storm here at Kraft Nissan because while we have over 400 cars and trucks on the ground, it is also our model year closeout. And everyone knows that the best deals on new cars come when a dealer needs to move inventory. Combine that with model year end closeout incentives and you get the perfect storm of huge savings. And my managers are threatening to keep me up on the roof until we sell a bunch of cars and trucks. So make me a reasonable offer. I'll do whatever it takes to get myself off the roof. Like 0% interest for 6 years on America's #1 selling SUV, the Nissan Rogue, and up to $5,300 in total savings on the red-hot Nissan Altima, or take up to $10,500 off MSRP on the Nissan Titan with America's best factory truck warranty, 5 years or 100,000 miles bumper to bumper. And as always, our exclusive lifetime warranty. And they wonder why Tallahassee is a Nissan town, a Kraft Nissan town. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. Clemson's Dabo Swinney will now be the second highest paid college football coach in the country, behind only Alabama's Nick Saban. Swinney gets a new contract extension through 2024 that will pay him an average of $6.7 million a season. Mayweather-McGregor is tomorrow night in Las Vegas. The weigh-in is today, the fight at 154 pounds. McGregor, who has worked his way up the MMA ladder, now takes on the unbeaten boxer Mayweather. Live coverage of the McGregor-Mayweather weigh-in starts at 6 Eastern on ESPN. Mets outfielder Michael Conforto will go on the DL, may need surgery on his left shoulder. He got hurt on a swing and miss Thursday against the Diamondbacks.
Experience why for nearly a century men have trusted Barbasol for a close, comfortable shave. Whether it's extra moisturizing with vitamin E or soothing aloe, all you have to do is sit back and bask in the glory of your close shave. You're looking good, America. You're shaving with Barbasol.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Libations Friday, brought to you by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachia Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Happy Libations Friday, friends. If you're out driving around listening, we appreciate it. If you're working your ass off while listening, we really appreciate it. Thanks. Hopefully we make your day better. You make ours. Hey, by the way, every week last year in camp, Jimbo would unveil sort of a nugget. He would, or making a direct assessment that we thought he was using to light a fire under his team, who he thought maybe weren't as focused as they needed to be, or as intense as they needed to be, or as tough as they needed to be. Turned out he was just telling us the truth. And what he was telling us was that his team wasn't good enough, that they didn't know what they needed to know, which is what it was going to take to win games and how tough the road to hoe was going to be. And then it happened, right? The wake-up call didn't come against Ole Miss, where they gave up all those points. They won that game, moved on, and I think everybody thought, whew, just got out of the way of a potential upset there. All right, let's gather ourselves. That'll wake you up. Let's move forward. But when your mind's not right and you're not as focused and locked in and ready to pay the price and ready to take the steps one by one to build towards a championship, then you repeat mistakes. And last year, Coach Fisher kept telling us in camp that they weren't mentally or physically tough enough. And I'm translating some. He wasn't that direct. But every day he would make mention of intensity or a lack thereof or toughness. And coaches can't abide by that. That is a very difficult thing to say about a football team. You can talk about lacking in areas of the game. Coaches can live with that. They can scheme around it. They can do things to protect their players and themselves and try to disguise certain foibles. But if you're not tough enough, well, then you can't win in football. I mean, you can't be, I almost cursed, but you can't be soft and play football mentally or physically. And I think, in essence, he thought this group was. Now, They were also lacking in some areas. There wasn't enough depth defensively to deal with some of the injuries they had, and that's not anything to do with toughness. They didn't get great safety play last year, and that hurt them against spread. So they're better there now, and that should be interesting. And they also faced elite quarterbacks, a lot of them, and that hurt them too. Those things aren't necessarily always tied into toughness. But there were moments, certainly, where they lacked the mental and physical fortitude to be able to win and win big and get past some hurdles. So let's just say that we learned our lesson, to take Coach Fisher at his word. It wasn't coach speak per se. We're so accustomed to hearing coaches devolve into that. And typically when they stand at the dais and tell you about how practice was or the upcoming season, at some point within 5 minutes, they're going into some form of coach speak that we've heard before. And we tend to tune it out, especially if you've covered it for a while. But last year, it ended up being an honest assessment of his team. And this year, he has spent a lot of time, whether it was at the quarterback club the other night, really in my one-on-one with him that I did for SiriusXM, College Sports Nation. It was me and Andy Staples. But anyhow, he sat across from us in a room for 30 minutes. 20 of that was an interview, a little bit more than that. You know, he's addressed it to the collective press after practice. He's really had a lot of positive things to say about this team, about the way practice has gone, the way the most recent scrimmage played out, his play at quarterback, the wide receivers, the line play, the freshmen that have come in and made an impact, a positive impact on this team that he thinks still have a chance to make an impact even in season.
That's a 6-week trend now, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, so a month and a half, he's been telling you these things, and I think if we learned anything from a year ago with his honest assessments after practice, sure, some things mixed in there are going to be coach speak. Some things are going to be motivational. But I think, again, if you take him at his word, he really likes this team. I think he thinks that they have a chance to be very good. Where you hear him kind of level off and where you note that maybe he's not as emboldened as he was at times going into last season or just before fall camp in talking about the talent and the depth of talent that he hadn't seen in a long time and all those kinds of quotes that got everybody so excited. Where he's tempered that is that, and I think why, more importantly, that he's tempered that isn't because he felt burned from a year ago. It's because he's looking at the same damn schedule the rest of the pundits are looking at. He's saying we could be great and still lose 2 games. So I think he's cautioning fans, and it doesn't mean they will lose 2 games. And it doesn't mean in the back of his mind he thinks they're going to lose 2 games. Coaches think they're going to win every game, as do players, and they should. But he's a realist. He's been around the block long enough to know that there are lulls in emotion. It happens that injuries pile up in a particular week at the wrong time, at the wrong position for the wrong matchup. So he recognizes this, and he's saying, hey, look, we're good. We might be even really good, like playoff good. Win the conference, go to the playoff, compete for a national title, good. But this schedule, which is bookended with 2 SEC teams, Alabama and Florida, and in between sees us on the road against Clemson, facing also 2 very good defensive lines and very good defenses in general early in the season, fresh off of playing Alabama once Florida State has to play Miami and NC State. Louisville later in the year at home, grant you, but with a returning Heisman Trophy winner who can change a game on his own. Listen, that's a schedule that's littered with pitfalls, where if you have a bad day, it gets taken advantage of by a very good team. And I know, I get it. When you're paid a lot of money and you recruit as well as Florida State does, and he has, the expectations are that you find a way to win the vast majority of those games. Got it. And the great coaches do find a way to win the vast majority of those games. But in truth, all but Nick Saban, for the most part, and even he has his stumbles, have had these moments where they've fielded very good teams, but the schedule got the best of them, and they lost 2 games. or 3 games. And for Florida State, if you lose 2 games, since they've gone to a playoff format, no team has entered that playoff with 2 losses. This might be a team that could break the mold there because of the schedule. It would, of course, come down to what those losses looked like and who they were to. If you lost to, we've done the scenario, but if you lost to an Alabama, great game, something 27-24, something like that. Played well, went toe-to-toe with the number one ranked team in the land, but came up short, but played well. And then somewhere along the way, you lost a close contest to Clemson on the road or something like that later in the year. But you took care of business everywhere else. Depending on what else happened around college football, a 2-loss Florida State team could find their way in. But I think most of us, A, certainly don't like the odds of that happening, and B, if you lose 2 games, you're so dependent on so many other things that you don't control, and so it makes you uneasy. And you've got to rely on a committee and their perceptions, which have been really hard to peg to begin with. And then number 2, hell, they didn't like an undefeated 29 wins in a row Florida State team. Who knows what they would do with a 2-loss Florida State team. And then secondarily, again, you don't know what else is going to happen in other Power 5 conferences.
To me, it reminds me that I've worked and done this job for 8 years, but I've only seen one great team. The 14 team was lovable and hateable all at the same time. You loved that they always came back.
I love the anguish they cost the rest of all of college football, but they didn't live up to their talent.
No, it's like you can't be Rocky at the same time that you're Drago, if that makes sense. Because
the oddity was they did. I say they don't live up to their talent, except for they went undefeated.
Exactly, but that's the lovable, hateable part about that team. But if you think about, even if you want to bind together 13 and 14, those teams had lightning rod type figures. Of course, they had Jameis, but they had dynamic personalities. In 14, it was Jalen Ramsey who took over that mold for the defense. But in the championship team, we said it ad nauseum. It's Joyner, it's Jernigan, it's Telvin Smith to go along with Jameis Winston, who was the redshirt freshman quarterback. If this team is great, if this team is one that's going to make its way to the playoff and scare a national title, if not win a national title, the thing I find different about this squad, there really aren't that many dynamic personalities on the team. You ask them on media day this year, for example, be it Brian Burns or Auden Tate or the talk about DeAndre Francois from Randy Sanders that we played the next day. To a man, each and every one of those players talk about leading by example. Josh Sweat talked about the same thing. They're not going to be an outspoken type player. They're going to lead by example. Whereas on that 13 team, you had any number of people that you would, flock to for 5 minutes of media availability because they're going to give you a quote or they're just going to give you a dynamic interview. This squad's different in that way. But the thing that, if you believe Jimbo this year, this is where I have a little pause from what he was talking about in July of last year versus this season. He says that there's a similarity between this group and the way the veterans are helping pave the way for the younger players.
Right.
There's a cohesion.
They're reaching out to help, yes.
There's a chemistry, a natural chemistry, because the standard's being set, but then also the veterans are paving the way for the younger players to do their part, to live up to the skill sets that they have. That's something that the 13 team had in spades. It's just that this team doesn't really have those 2 or 3 players that you say, well, that was LaMarcus's team. That was Jameis's team.
Yeah, they got one. They got Derwin James, who has emerged with a vibrant personality, and I've interviewed him twice so far this offseason, including just a couple weeks ago, and he is embracing his role as team spokesman. He's embracing his role in leadership. He's embracing the role of superstar in a good way. He knows the way he's perceived, and he knows that he's a guy that can kind of direct the ship, if you will. I think he realizes, certainly defensively, he can steer the ship. He knows that they're all going to follow what he does. He's that guy. Offensively is where I think, you're hard-pressed to find a guy. Some people would say, well, Nooney Murray's got a personality. Yeah, not a leader's personality. He's got personality. He's got a diva's personality that a lot of star receivers have. Doesn't mean he's not going to be great. Could be. But he's not that guy. Francois would just as soon spit on you as talk to you. And I don't mean that meanly. It's just not his personality. He doesn't want to engage the press. He doesn't want to talk about himself. And he doesn't want to do anything but get to work. And that's fine. But he's a quarterback, and the cameras and the microphones are going to be in front of his face more than anybody else. And he doesn't want it. He wants to shun it, which, again, is fine because his work ethic is not in question. But he's not going to talk. Auden Tate's not going to talk. I don't know who you'd look to. None of the linebackers are talkers. Sweat is an introvert, really quiet, is shy.
Interesting, but yeah, you can't.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that his personality is not bubbly. He doesn't want to have that conversation. Burns is too young to have it, and I don't think ready to have it.
He says by example too. He and Sweat are trying to implement that as their
Yeah. So and I know I went from the offense to the defense and then back.
But that's what I'm saying.
Derwin James is the guy.
I mean, maybe, you cover a national beat for the NFL or something and you see that winning teams, championship teams, can be different. It's just that the only one that I've seen, that I've covered, and even in the school's history, you have dynamic players on both sides of the ball that were, brash over the years. This one, it has Derwin James. I'll grant you, there is one player that's dynamic in front of a camera or a microphone on top of being dynamic and athletic and freakish on the field. But beyond that, this is kind of a get-to-work kind of group. And even Derwin's doing that because he knows he has to. I don't know that that's Derwin. Derwin's not looking for an interview. Derwin's not looking for a camera.
But he gives a good one, though, and he's happy about it. He will talk to you, and he'll open up and laugh and have fun with it. I think he's enjoying himself, which is great.
And this is probably why Fisher loves this team, but it's a very nose-to-the-grindstone type team. I mean, at least that's what they give off this year in the availabilities that I've been to. The work that the beat has done day to day, and you review those interviews, man, this team just wants to play. It just wants to get to work, and maybe that's good enough to win a championship, and maybe it creates a likability all its own.
Oddly, I think there are two candidates to be kind of voices for the offense, and they're both on the offensive line, which is generally a good thing because offensive linemen are smart. And I will tell you this, Landon Dickerson's one. He is a talker, and he's smart, and he's funny, and he's not afraid. And Alec Eberle's a good talker, too. He's I think would be willing to talk.
But, again, doesn't that kind of underscore the point that this would be a different squad?
Oh, it would be incredibly workmanlike if you're turning to the offensive line and not a quarterback or a wide receiver or a running back. But I think that if they emerge, if they survive the gauntlet and they're undefeated at the midway point, we're moving towards the big games against Louisville and Clemson, and they're right there ranked number 1 or 2 in the country. And the media storm is gathering, and they want more access, and they want to talk to more players and have opportunities. I'm telling you, if they're fishing for comments from the offense, you're going to have to get it from Landon Dickerson. You're going to have to get it from Alec Eberle. That's all you're going to get.
If we beat Alabama, go get Dickerson. I told you guys, their offense.
Well, Landon Dickerson said, and we played the interview straight up, that, listen, I go against a better defensive line every day in practice than I'm going to see against Alabama. And, nobody took off with that quote. It didn't get used as bulletin board material because I think, in fairness, there's nothing wrong with stating bluntly what a lot of people already believe, and that is that Florida State's defensive line is, if not the best, in the conversation for the best in the country. It's one of the great strengths of the team. Hour number 2 forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin, Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Booking. Sign up today.
The big game is almost here, but you can't afford to go because ticket prices are through the roof. Don't worry, we got your back. Anytix.com offers you the lowest price tickets, guaranteed. Anytix.com doesn't mark up tickets. Anytix.com has zero. That's right, no buyer, seller, or service fees. For a small monthly fee of $9.99, you get access to all their wholesale tickets. Go to Anytix.com today. That's Anytix, T-I-X-X. Enter the coupon code ESPN Tally and get 20% off your subscription. Anytix.com, changing the way you buy tickets.
Bubba's Pizza on Appalachia Parkway, home of delicious New York-style pizza, calzones, Phillies, and salads, is celebrating 2 years in Tallahassee. Haven't tried Bubba's? Stop into the Appalachia Parkway location downstairs from Corner Pocket Bar and Grill today. Today only, $1.50 cheese slices and cans and bottles of beer. That's Bubba's Pizza on Appalachia Parkway.
Attention all business owners, it's here. 97.9 ESPN Radio has developed the Triple Play, Tallahassee's most effective advertising campaign. The Triple Play combines radio, TV, and the internet, and it's brought to you only by Tallahassee's #1 sports station.
Hi, I'm Nina Davis, account executive here at 97.9 ESPN Radio. Call me at 561-8400 right now to find out more about our Triple Play advertising campaign so we can grow your business. It's football season, so everyone's listening. Call me, Nina Davis, at 561-8400 to partner your business with Tallahassee's Sports Monster.
It's been called shell shock, war neurosis, and battle fatigue. Today, we call it post-traumatic stress disorder, and it affects 1 out of every 5 warriors returning from battle in Iraq and Afghanistan. The Wounded Warrior Project offers comfort and support for warriors with PTSD and all other scars of war, whether those scars are visible or hidden. Find out how to help, because for warriors, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. Please visit woundedwarriorproject.org.
Bama versus FSU.
Down the sidelines, touchdown, Seminoles, rumbling all the way to the end zone, touchdown, Bama.
ESPN Tallahassee's Jeff Cameron is headed to Atlanta for Bama Beatdown. Brought to you by Fred Conrad, criminal defense lawyer. Remember, don't blow it. Call 222-4005.
Shop Lowe's and take advantage of early Labor Day savings with great deals for your home inside and out. Refresh your walls or renew your deck with $10 to $40 off paint, exterior stains, and resurfacers. And if you've been craving new appliances, get up to 40% off select appliance special values on some of the best brands in the business. All projects have a starting point. Start with Lowe's. Paint offer valid 8/24 through 9/6 via rebate. Appliance offer valid 8/24 through 9/13. Exclusions apply. See store for details. U.S. only.
Broadcasting live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. Clemson's Dabo Swinney will now be the second highest paid college football coach in the country, behind only Alabama's Nick Saban. Swinney gets a new contract extension through 2024 that will pay him an average of $6.7 million a season. Mayweather-McGregor is tomorrow night in Las Vegas. The weigh-in is today, the fight at 154 pounds. McGregor, who has worked his way up the MMA ladder, now takes on the unbeaten boxer Mayweather. Live coverage of the McGregor-Mayweather weigh-in starts at 6 Eastern on ESPN. Mets outfielder Michael Conforto will go on the DL, may need surgery on his left shoulder. He got hurt on a swing and miss Thursday against the Diamondbacks.
Experience why for nearly a century men have trusted Barbasol for a close, comfortable shave. Whether it's extra moisturizing with vitamin E or soothing aloe, all you have to do is sit back and bask in the glory of your close shave. You're looking good, America. You're shaving with Barbasol.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Libations Friday, brought to you by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachia Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
to Jeff Cameron Show 97.9 ESPN Radio. Happy Libations Friday, kids. Woohoo! Loosey-goosey edition of the program. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always, don't miss anything. Hey, if you missed something, we got you covered. ESPNTallahassee.com, also on iTunes. Upon the conclusion of the program, we throw the show up there. You can find it at your leisure. Go ahead and skip around, do whatever you do when you listen to your podcast. Go for a jog or a swim, whatever it is. It'd be weird listening to this show while swimming. Anyhow, that said, brought to you with limited commercial interruptions, thanks to CarltonDean.com.
I guess if you were in the pool hanging out, having a beer,
out might be that'd be all right. Swimming, actually, swimming's hard.
Oh, yeah.
It's very hard. Tiring.
Works out every muscle in the body.
Ridiculous is what it is. JCS at 979 ESPNradio.com. The email address on Twitter. Oh, I should say that's the email address. I got it right. Get it together, Cameron. Snap back. On Twitter, it's at J Cameron Show, WTSM app for your mobile devices. And we're on YouTube, ESPN Tallahassee. I was just reading quotes from Alabama's locker room. I was looking at Rashaan Evans. Alabama talking Florida State, said they got athletes across the board. I've been hearing a lot of things about them trying to be a dominant team by competing against people like us, the SEC. Just with that, I feel like we are going to have a great battle coming up. Well, no, we're looking for a great battle with you guys at Alabama. The rest of the SEC is not up to par with what we face on a weekly basis in the ACC, Rashaan. Alabama has opened up at a neutral site the past 5 years, including the last 2 years against ranked opponents, of course. They beat the Wisconsin Badgers, as we all knew they would. Sort of a ho-hum affair, 35-17. And then they beat Southern Cal last year with a ass-kicking to the tune of 52-6. So this will be, I think, a better test for Alabama, obviously, than either Wisconsin or Southern Cal was. But I am curious. You know, the reports at a camp in Tuscaloosa is that it hasn't been great. You want to be buoyed? The scuttlebutt, if you will, out of Alabama is that they haven't been great in this camp and that Nick Saban has had some concerns. Now, is that a message fostered by Nick Saban himself? Is that the word that he wants to get out? That Alabama is struggling? I mean, from day one, since he was asked about this matchup, he kept telling people that Florida State would be preseason ranked number 1 when he knew damn well Alabama was going to be preseason ranked number 1. And he said, I figure Florida State will be favored, even though he knew Alabama would be favored. So he was trying to downplay the matchup almost as soon as it was on everybody's radar. As soon as the season concluded and people began to talk about this game, this fantastic football game, it's the very thing he didn't want to talk about, and it's the thing he wanted to downplay. Is that because he's being honest, much the way we just talked about Jimbo Fisher discussing his team a year ago and so far this camp? Or is it because he didn't want to help, I guess, bring more attention and hype to a game that didn't really need it?
Well, how about this fundamental question first about Jimbo? Could it be that Jimbo will temper expectations and allow for coach speak or higher levels of praise, inconsistent levels of praise when things are good? To put it quickly, how about one bullet point of it? Is Jimbo apt to more coach speak when things are going well, and when things are going poorly, he's apt to be more honest? He's talking about things are going well this camp.
Wrestling with that. I don't know, Tom. I think he's shown us both sides in the past. It's hard to get a handle on that.
Attitude of domination. There was the week or two prior to traveling out to Norman, Oklahoma, when everything was A-OK, and we know what happened there. Again, this roster is way more talented than the one was for the Norman, Oklahoma example. And the attitude of domination thing, he was just trying to push buttons for kids that I don't know how much they really wanted to be here instead of be playing on Sundays. But I guess what I'm getting at is, when it was that bad last year, did he have any choice but to be honest? He could have said things are going fine, but I mean, what message does that send? I mean, if it was that, it had to have been that bad in practice. Look at what we saw on the field.
Yeah, and listen, a lot of this ended up being partly because they lost Derwin James and Noddy was hurt, and then Sweat got hurt, and then it all unraveled. And so we look back at his comments and we see that it seemed to fit. But would it have fit if those guys had been healthy? Would they have had another win in there, and we could have then only been citing the fact that they were playing good quarterbacks?
I mean, yeah, you beat North Carolina and you
Right.
don't give up 50 yards in 20 seconds or whatever the hell it is. Then you're looking at an 11-win season and an Orange Bowl.
Yeah.
Probably stings less.
That one at home really is a kick in the ass. That's the one that
Too much time left on the clock, huh? Good
Well,
Lord.
Isn't it crazy, too? I don't know why, even though it was from 50, right? 50, something more than 50 yards?
50, yeah, 51.
Whatever it was, I just kept thinking, he's going to make this, and we probably don't deserve to win this, but I feel so bad at that time, I felt so awful for Francois. He gave his heart in that game, man.
So did Dalvin.
Yeah, they both did. It was just a lot of heart being shown. Well, listen, let me cite Tony Tsoukalos, who I did some work with this summer. He's at the Bama Insider site. We'll have him on next week, I think, to talk Florida State, Alabama. One thing, again, if I'm using this first segment of the 4 just to make you feel better, that Bama, I talk about camp being somewhat disjointed. Maybe not disjointed. That's probably not a good way to put it, but uneven. And that's because they've had some guys out. Josh Jacobs, who they're so high on, the running back, has had a hamstring issue. Heartbreaking. But that's a problem for anybody, but especially if you're a running back or a corner or someone that has to stop, start, run, change directions. That's a problem.
Devastating.
Yeah. Christian Miller is an outside linebacker, a very talented 6'4", 245-pound outside linebacker. He's been very limited. He's had problems with his hamstring. Hamstrings, Tom. I think they're working out so much and eating so well at the Bama table. Got hamstring issues everywhere. We'll see. The defensive line, that's an area of concern given some people that they've lost. And at this point, there have been conversations that they're a little uncertain about what they're going to get from this defense. That an area of concern a year ago was the secondary, but now that has moved into an area of strength. They feel very good that Ronnie Harrison and Minka Fitzpatrick and Anthony Everett and all those guys are going to play really well.
I like uncertainty out of Tuscaloosa. I'll take uncertainty. That sounds good. I wouldn't like it if everything was negative, negative, negative. To me, that would just be a trap. That would be Saban trying to motivate the greats. He knows he's got great ones there, and so he's trying to get them elevated to a different level. But if there's uncertainty, kind of a wishy-washy fall camp, I like it.
Wishy-washy fall camp. I'll ask when I have him on. I'll say, Tony, has this been a wishy-washy camp for Alabama?
By their standards,
a little
of course.
wishy and a little washy, perhaps. No, it will be interesting. But Alabama was not installing at the same time that Florida State was or had begun, or so says the people covering their practices on a daily basis. But that doesn't concern me at all. Florida State has started that process. I'll tell you what I like. I like the idea of challenging Bama down the field. I think you got to do that to loosen them up, and I think that Florida State's receivers being a different unit than they were a year ago, that's an area where we're talking about things we may miss. Dalvin Cook came up last hour where I talked about perhaps we've begun to gloss over a little too soon just what Dalvin Cook really meant to this backfield and how much we're going to miss his presence to bail us out. Well, that said, an area where you might see more explosive plays and we had forgotten about because we had so few of them given what was out there last year is that wide receiver. You've got explosive players there, and you've got a stud in Keith Gavin. I think he's going to have a great year. But you got a guy in Nooney Murray, if he is locked in 100%, ready to play and focused, play in and play out, I think makes big plays. Auden Tate's had a great camp, so that's exciting.
Yeah, to me, again, we talked about the X's and O's and the similarities between the two defensive philosophies and what they might be. Those similarities may mean more pressure on both quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts, prove it to me. Prove it to me that you can get the ball down the field. Prove it to me that you can be accurate. And for Alabama, it's, all right, Florida State offensive line, can you handle
what we're going to bring defensively?
What we're going to bring to the table.
Because we're going to bring the house.
Can you check into the right protections? Do you have all your ducks in a row? But the counter to that is, yes, you have single coverage opportunities down the field with big athletes, with Keith Gavin and Auden Tate. And Nooney Murray is a one-cut, make-you-miss guy, and then there he goes. He's off and running. So, yeah, to me, that is exciting. If we win our fair share of battles, it's really exciting because then it shows on film for the rest of the year that, I don't know, guys, if you're a defensive coordinator for Miami and you're keying up, what you want to do for week 3, I don't know that we can bring a whole lot of pressure because look what they have on the edges. I mean, just the message it sends for the season.
I hope it happens. It plays out that way, and we have certainly a season, I think, of more big plays coming out of that position than a year ago, regardless of what happens in this game. I do think that's going to be a trend that we'll see a lot of that. Hey, as an aside, just because I'm not going to spend a lot of time today talking, or really hardly any time, talking today about the Mayweather-McGregor fight, because I think it's a farce, I did want to point out this side, this part of it I love, and I really wish that I had real money, like FU money. I wish I had that kind of money because I'd put more than $1 million down on Mayweather. I would put that's free money. As long as a fix isn't in, it's free money. Now, of course, Conor McGregor has a puncher's chance, as does anybody who's a skilled fighter. You can get lucky, and Mayweather could run into one, even though he's the greatest defensive fighter in the history of boxing, arguably, so it doesn't seem likely. But it could happen. And if it did, given what McGregor brings to the table on that front, yes, he could knock his ass out.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go ahead and take my chances. It doesn't feel like a big gamble to me if I had real money to put a ton of it down on Mayweather.
What's funny is you even say that they're fighting at 150, they're coming up in weight, whatever it is for this particular fight. And I know it, but I have to be reminded sometimes. They show one of the preliminary weigh-in promotional nonsense things they did earlier in the week.
Sure.
So they're standing next to the Corona girls or whatever, ladies there are that are going to be for the ring. Mm-hmm. They're smaller than the ladies. Those are the models that are there.
Yeah.
And even their legs and arms, I mean, they're
not big dudes.
They're just tiny little men. Wee men.
Well, who
pack a punch, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, who you wouldn't want to fight.
No,
right,
you wouldn't want to fight.
Right.
Let me establish that. But it's just amazing how tiny these dudes are.
Yeah, I'm with you. Here's why I bring this up, though, real quick. Just a gambling angle. More money will have been bet on the Floyd Mayweather-Conor McGregor fight than on any other boxing match in history by the time the opening bell rings. And I think one of the big reasons for that is that there is an element of uncertainty when evenly matched fighters of the same discipline go head-to-head. I mean, if I can box and he can box, even if he's the better boxer, you have concerns that the skilled boxer has a chance to win that fight. But this is where I don't think that's the case. They're going by these rules, and in these rules, you got a problem.
This feels like a setup. It really does.
Well, I said before it would be smart. If you can find a way to fake it and you didn't care about your legacy and only cared about money, then you would throw the fight if you were Floyd Mayweather. And if you thought you could do that convincingly, and frankly, I think the only way you could do that convincingly is to let him hit you in the face and actually knock you out. Because he's not allowed to do the things that he would do if you were in the octagon, which is, I would also then at that point flip it and take McGregor. Because he'd get Mayweather on the ground and good night.
Right, and you give Mayweather the puncher's chance.
Right, and then you'd say, well, he'd have to throw those hands
real fast.
Yeah, because he's not a knockout guy either. And McGregor can take a punch, so good luck. But because we're going by boxing rules, and he's not allowed to take him down or kick him or do the things that he would do if this was UFC. So anyhow, the point is, I'm looking at these numbers. I'm going to tell you some of these numbers are going to blow you away. There are some bets that have come in for more than $1 million on Mayweather. Can you imagine being the guy that walks to the
well, you don't walk to the regular pit, right?
No, but
they got to call it in.
It would be pretty awesome to do it that way. Yes, I'm going to go ahead and put $1 million on $1 million. Here you go, sweet cheeks. I mean, that is something.
Why I just didn't like him fight.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You can tell a lot about a tractor by its warranty. That's why Mahindra makes the toughest tractors on earth. With steel, not plastic. Backed by the industry's best limited powertrain warranty, period. Not 5 years, not 6 years, but a full 7 years on select models. No wonder the other guys are green with envy.
No money down, 0% interest, and no payments until July. Available at TNT Supercenter.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Organic food that brings the highest quality of local and global products to Tallahassee. Whole Foods Market, located at 1817 Thomasville Road, and presented by MMT Clinics of Florida. Visit mmtcfl.com.
To the pylon! That's a Seminoles touchdown!
We have more cars than we had last year. You want to put some up here? Then we're going to need a crane again. Yes, that was me, Chris Kraft, up on the roof of the dealership last week looking for a place to store our overflow inventory. But this year we have the perfect storm here at Kraft Nissan, because while we have over 400 cars and trucks on the ground, it is also our model year closeout. And everyone knows that the best deals on new cars come when a dealer needs to move inventory. Combine that with model year-end closeout incentives, and you get the perfect storm of huge savings. And my managers are threatening to keep me up on the roof until we sell a bunch of cars and trucks. So make me a reasonable offer. I'll do whatever it takes to get myself off the roof. Like 0% interest for 6 years on America's #1 selling SUV, the Nissan Rogue, and up to $5,300 in total savings on the red-hot Nissan Altima, or take up to $10,500 off MSRP on the Nissan Titan with America's best factory truck warranty, 5 years or 100,000 miles, bumper to bumper. And as always, our exclusive lifetime warranty. And they wonder why Tallahassee is a Nissan town, a Kraft Nissan town. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco.
Get your weekend started right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Saturdays at 6 a.m. with Fishing Florida Radio. Listen to the three amigos, Boudreaux, Steve Chapman, and Captain Mike Ortega as they catch you up to speed on what's new and biting in the North Florida region. Big-time guests, celebrities, interviews, and 3 hours of the fishing info you need. Fishing Florida Radio is brought to you by Sea Quarters Marina off Highway 98 in Carabel. Sea Quarters Marina, your full-service marina, and presented by Hobbit American Grill, locally owned and operated since 1978.
Noel fans, ESPN Tallahassee's official home for FSU watch parties in 2017 is Miller's Ale House on Appalachia Parkway.
Francois to throw for the end zone. It is caught. Touchdown. Seminoles are going for the win.
The ESPN Tallahassee team will be on hand for every Seminole away football game with giveaways, a chance to win some great prizes, and to have a good time.
To the pylon. He's into the end zone for an FSU touchdown.
So, when the Noles hit the road, join us at Miller's Ale House on the Parkway, the official FSU watch party headquarters of your home of the best in Seminole sports talk. 97.9 ESPN Radio, Tallahassee Sports Authority.
Brent, this month's topic is classic song lyrics. You ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Here's a lyric. American history, practical math. You study them hard and hoping to pass.
It's from School Days by the great Chuck Berry. He wrote and recorded so many great hits.
You mean like TNT Supercenter sells and services so many top golf cart brands with an enormous selection all under one roof?
TNT Supercenter customers can compare the top golf cart brands side by side. Club Car, Yamaha, Star EV, and the ultimate hunting vehicle to beat. TNT Supercenter has the largest selection of carts in the area. Pre-owned cars starting at just $19.99. New carts with a 4-year warranty starting at just $49.99. And at TNT, our service center and service technicians are trained, certified, and authorized for every brand we sell.
And there's plenty of parts and accessories too, right?
Our parts inventory is huge, and we'll dress up your existing car with a full line of Mad Jack's premium accessory products like seat kits, light kits, lift kits, and now for a limited time, save 20% on all Mad Jack's parts and accessories.
TNT Supercenter US 19 South next to Dairy Queen in Thomasville and online at TNTSupercenter.com.
You're locked in with the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Show 97.9 ESPN Radio. As I was noting with the wagers coming in the big fight or the alleged big fight, I wanted to note that McGregor is very public, as you would guess. You want to hear something funny? As of like a week ago, the average wager on McGregor, Tom, is $131. The average wager on Mayweather, $5,100.
Man.
So it's kind of funny. And now you're getting some $1 million bets in there that are kind of funny too. Real quick on some of those numbers. It's already the most heavily bet fight ever at some sports books from Nevada all the way to the UK. One thing I love about the UK, by the way, when you go over to England and you walk around, you spend any time there, those are some gambling fools. I mean, just right there's places to bet all over the streets. It's awesome. I was like, these are my people.
And if you don't pay, you get the pigs.
On Thursday night, roughly 48 hours before the fight, William Hill's sportsbooks in Nevada had already taken more money on Mayweather-McGregor than they did on the 2015 Mayweather bout with Manny Pacquiao, which was the previous most heavily bet fight. Nevada Gaming Control does not track the betting on individual boxing matches and lumps boxing into other categories, along with UFC, hockey, golf, tennis, auto racing, soccer, on a monthly revenue report. In May 2015, a record $81.1 million was bet on the other category. Bookmakers estimated the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight accounted for $60 million of the $81 million that was bet there. This will be the biggest fight handle ever, period, says William Hill, director of that watch group that monitors these things. And anyhow, on Thursday, two $1 million bets were placed on Mayweather. That's one more $1 million bet than was reportedly taken on the Super Bowl last year. The Westgate Superbook had already taken more six-figure bets on the fight than it did on the Super Bowl last year. On Friday morning, that's today, Mayweather's odds could be anywhere from -500 to -600.
I don't know that they covered, but could you imagine just placing a bet to win on the Patriots for the Super Bowl and that roller coaster ride?
No. Not of $1 million, which, first of all, dumbasses, it's football. It's the NFL. That's crazy. No.
Tom's going to get it done this year, no problem.
Sportsbook directors note that most people wait until the day of the actual fight. By Saturday night, there may be more bets on just McGregor than there were on the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl at some books. So just bets alone. I'm not sure I've seen this kind of lopsided actions in terms of bets, says Cornegay, a 25-year veteran book manager in Vegas. That's a cool job, man. That's your job there, huh? Bet manager. You know some people.
Oh, yeah. You've seen some things, too.
You have seen some things. Anyhow, kind of a fun story. Those stories are out there. They're everywhere. Cue it up, buddy. Let's do this thing. You want to do that? No?
We certainly could if you'd like.
No. We got to save it, right? We got to wait. I just knew it was a short segment. I wanted to get gambling in there, but you want to do it? Let's do it now.
Yeah. Count them up, pour them out.
I'll just have a cup of coffee.
There it is. It's Beer 30, brought to you by the 7th Hill Tap Room on Appalachia Parkway.
I love it. It's the last half an hour of a workday, right? So this is the perfect time for Beer 30, presented by our fine friends at the 7th Hill Tap Room on Appalachia Parkway. Tonight's featured beer. We'll be telling you about this all the time. Coppertail's Night Swim Porter. Coppertail is a kick-ass brewery hailing from good old Ybor City in Tampa. And the Night Swim Porter is rich, roasty, and offers a hint of chocolate, as all good porters do, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. It's porter season in about 2 weeks' time, I'd say.
Even though it'll be 90.
Oh, did I say weeks? I meant months.
Yeah.
Forgive me.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah, but it's really kind of always porter season. I mean, I can have a porter even if it's hot outside because I keep my house cold.
It can be, but I have to say, I know, man card, take it. It's already gone. They have this, it's not on tap right now, but it will be in the coming weeks. It's an MIA Brewing,
I've had
down
it.
in Miami. Okay, They have a hard water. All right.
It's very tasty.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
it's refreshing.
That's not what we're doing here. We're talking about this awesome Coppertail porter, buddy.
No, I love porters. You know what I think. One of my slogans in life is the world needs more porters. So don't get me wrong. But, for the hot weather thing, be on the lookout for the hard water.
So at 11 a.m. on Sunday, isn't that where all the football enthusiasts go now and watch Arsenal?
Yeah, that's where the Gooners are, the Tallahassee Gooners. But Seventh Hill has all of the Premier League games. They have La Liga, too. So if you like...
I like La Liga.
Premier League, La Liga, Champions League, you name it. They open early on Saturdays and Sundays for those matches, too. So if you're looking for a place to watch soccer, this is your location.
There you go. Our thanks to our friends at the Seventh Hill Tap Room, right underneath the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, where you can always find the newest and freshest Florida craft beer. That is a good thing indeed. Beer 30, welcome in. Welcome to the fold, Beer 30. I rather like you.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
With the best, only at MyBookie. Sign up today.
Might I suggest the chicken taco salad from Bandito's Burritos, my friend?
Bubba's Pizza on Appalachia Parkway, home of delicious New York-style pizza, calzones, Phillies, and salads, is celebrating 2 years in Tallahassee. Haven't tried Bubba's? Stop into the Appalachia Parkway location downstairs from Corner Pocket Bar and Grill today. Today only, $1.50 cheese slices and cans and bottles of beer. That's Bubba's Pizza on Appalachia Parkway.
This year's Kingfish Tournament is in the books. Although the weather wasn't the best, over 55 boaters registered for the tournament, and Sea Quarters Marina would like to thank everyone that came out. $50,000 was raised for leukemia research this year, which brings the total to $915,000 over 14 years. The winning kingfish, caught by Team Bill Collector, weighed 47 pounds, and the winning Spanish mackerel, caught by Team Neil Brooks Electric, weighed 5 pounds. Additionally, fishermen donated approximately 1,000 pounds, which will be sold to raise funds for leukemia research. Sea Quarters Marina hopes to see you at the 2018 Kingfish Tournament.
Tallahassee loves the corner pocket as much as a crystal ball winning catch.
He's looking, he lost it to the end zone. It's Benjamin! Touchdown! With 13 seconds left!
The 97.9 ESPN radio special is a must-have every Monday and Wednesday at the corner pocket. 10 mouth-watering wings, a fresh side of fries, and a chilled domestic pint of beer are just $9.79 all day long. Be sure and try the fish blend of sauces, a true wing eater's favorite. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
He's gone!
Home of Trivia Tuesday, Beer Bingo Thursday, and the daily $7.99 lunch special.
The big game is almost here, but you can't afford to go because ticket prices are through the roof. Don't worry, we got your back. Anytix.com offers you the lowest price tickets. Guaranteed. Anytix.com doesn't mark up tickets. Anytix.com has zero. That's right, no buyer, seller, or service fees. For a small monthly fee of $9.99, you get access to all their wholesale tickets. Go to Anytix.com today. That's Anytix, Tixx. Enter the coupon code ESPN Tally and get 20% off your subscription. Anytix.com, changing the way you buy tickets.
At Whole Foods Market, we believe in real food. Food that's full of nutrients, naturally vivid and colorful, fresh and delicious. Food that connects you to your body, to the seasons, and to the natural world. We believe food should nourish you and help you think. It should help you feel calm, clear-headed, and strong. It should help you do more, sleep better, and wake up happier. That's food that lives up to its name. We believe in real food. Whole Foods Market.
Fall is the best time to feed your lawn. With 10% off Scott's Turf Builder Winter Guard Fall Weed and Feed and Fall Lawn Food at the Home Depot. Scott's Turf Builder Winter Guard feeds your lawn to build strong, deep grass roots for winter when you need it most. So it'll be lush, green, and beautiful next spring when you want it most. Scott's Turf Builder Winter Guard Fall Weed and Feed and Fall Lawn Food. 10% off now at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Valid through October 4th.
Out on the golf course, there are the obvious hazards. There's the pond, the bunker, the rough, the even rougher.
Yeah, put me down for an 8.
The giant maples. The row of houses out of bounds on the right. The angry flock of geese who've surrounded your ball. Even the occasional groundskeeper you had no clue was there. But if you think you found every possible hazard out there, think again. The hazard you missed could actually be a killer. It's the spot on your skin, the one that could be skin cancer. Fact is, if you're a man over 50, you're in a group most likely to develop skin cancer, including melanoma, the kind that kills one person every hour. 1 in 5 Americans is likely to develop a form of skin cancer during their lifetime. That's why your best shot is to check for a spot. It's easy. Follow through and check your skin. It could be the save of a lifetime. Go to spotskincancer.org to find out how. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. Clemson's Dabo Swinney will now be the second highest paid college football coach in the country, behind only Alabama's Nick Saban. Swinney gets a new contract extension through 2024 that will pay him an average of $6.7 million a season. Mayweather-McGregor is tomorrow night in Las Vegas. The weigh-in is today, the fight at 154 pounds. McGregor, who has worked his way up the MMA ladder, now takes on the unbeaten boxer Mayweather. Live coverage of the McGregor-Mayweather weigh-in starts at 6 Eastern on ESPN. Mets outfielder Michael Conforto will go on the DL, may need surgery on his left shoulder. He got hurt on a swing and miss Thursday against the Diamondbacks.
Experience why for nearly a century men have trusted Barbasol for a close, comfortable shave. Whether it's extra moisturizing with vitamin E or soothing aloe, all you have to do is sit back and bask in the glory of your close shave. You're looking good, America. You're shaving with Barbasol.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Libations Friday. Brought to you by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachian Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Libations Friday. Matthew Thomas was at the luncheon, right, today? That's good news. That's really good news. And I think, Jimbo, who continued to say that Matthew Thomas would be back at some point, it looks like that very well may be true. He was at the luncheon on Friday with the team one day after Coach Fisher had mentioned that he would be back at practice. Irish FL reporting that for warchant.com. Still not officially cleared, I guess, to participate with the team. But it seems to be a formality, says Ira. So there it is. Again, I would say this, though. The concern would be that even if he's back, if he is still on this football team, in fact, which is good news for him and good news for the club long-term, I don't know if it's short-term good news. I don't know necessarily that it impacts this game. Maybe. How quickly can you get him up to speed? Remember that he has not been practicing and participating in any way all of this time that he's been out. So I don't know whether or not he, you would like to think that he stayed in very good shape as best he could. We'll see.
Maybe he did what Dalvin did when Dalvin was away from the team a couple years back.
Bigger, stronger, faster.
Because then he comes back after being acquitted in whatever time it was, like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And word around the practice fields was that Dalvin was in the best shape of anyone on the field. So maybe that would be the case. But the idea that it's a, quote, formality, okay, I like hearing that. Because at least if Matthew Thomas can give you, 50% of the snaps? That's better than having 0% of the snaps.
Well, right. We thought there was a real good chance he wouldn't be back. It certainly seemed questionable, and yet now here we are, and an opportunity to see him and to know that he's going to play. I think at this point, if he's at the lunch and they all but know he's going to be cleared and he's going to be all right to play. So, hey, man, that's really good news. I think even if not for this Alabama game, for the remainder of the games, I mean, he's a very talented player. We get to do this every year, and it's a lot of fun, just kicking around some of those games. But I actually have to say, Tom, I think this might be the one that has the best chance of coming true. We have looked for an opportunity to hang apparel from others and their efforts to pull off mighty upsets, one might say nearly impossible upsets, in this here segment. So if you would, cue it up. I got somebody.
Hell no, to the no, no, no. Hell to the no, hell to the no, to the no, no, no. Hell no, no, to the no, no. Hell to the no, no, to the no, no.
That is music to the ears, is it not? The return of the Hell to the Nah Team of the Week. Now, all of the Hell to the Nah Teams of the Week are severe underdogs, and that's putting it mildly. So most, you would say, aren't likely to pull off an upset. But within the realm of being a severe underdog, who is the most likely to pull off the upset? Which then, in turn, leads to me on air calling their bookstore and ordering gear to hang at the studio. Who will it be? It's almost happened twice with Kansas.
Yes, yeah.
Nearly knocking TCU off.
They flirted with TCU a couple of times.
Yeah, if Texas didn't suck so bad, we would have been able to pick Kansas against them because they did beat Texas, but the spread wasn't big enough.
There was a game last year, too, that was close, that was one of our candidates, but it didn't make the final cut. And it didn't turn out to be a mega upset.
Wasn't there one like UMass in Florida?
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty close in the second half.
That might have been the first week of the season last year.
It was crazy. I remember thinking, are we going to be calling UMass?
Florida didn't get over the 50 or the 40.
It was bizarre. Yeah, boy, that juggernaut offense. I'm just thinking about it. That we've had a couple of teams that were the Hell to the Nah Team of the Week, which, by the way, if you're new to the program, looks like this. The Hell to the Nah Team of the Week is the team that is that we select from the Vegas odds that have basically zero chance to win. Like if you're a 56-point underdog, you might be the Hell to the Nah Team of the Week, for example.
Hell no, to the no, no, no. Hell to the no. To the no, to the no, no, no. Hell no, no, to the no, no. Hell to the no, no. To the no, no, no. Hell to the no, no. To the no, no, no.
It's a thing of beauty. So the schedule is limited, and we were wondering where we would go. The lines moved around, but it's looking like 31 for now is your number. So this would be you, Rice. Rice is our Hell to the Nah Team of the Week in their matchup against Stanford.
No, 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 no.
Woo!
Hell no. No, no. No, no, no.
No, 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 no.
No, no.
No, no. Yeah, Rice is opened at a 38-point underdog to Stanford in their first game of the season to be played tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern. So you'll be, no doubt, locked into this matchup in which now they are 31-point underdogs. Come down 7.
Interesting. So some early action. Maybe there were some tips out there in the
people
wind.
saying Stanford not looking all that good.
Can they score 38 points?
All right, so Rice is the hell to the nah team of the week, and I got to say, just to talk about it, throw it out there out loud, no, they're not going to win. They're not. And the rule is, if you win, we call and we get gear and we have it sent here and we hang it up and we congratulate you and celebrate all things that are you for that particular week. And then really we would keep it in here forevermore. We have yet to have a hell to the nah team of the week find a way to win a game yet. We've had some close calls. We've had moments where 30 and 40-point underdogs were within a touchdown or within a field goal in the fourth quarter of a game. And that is at that point one of my favorite moments, because what happens with the listeners of this show is you all are very aware of who the hell to the nah team of the week is. It gets spread on Twitter, gets spread on Facebook, gets spread via email and text, and everybody says, hey, so-and-so is the hell to the nah team of the week. And then I start getting the updates, almost like weather updates. What ends up happening is on Twitter, people will at me immediately, hey, man, tie ball game, Rice Stanford second quarter, just saying. So you become a little bit acutely aware, I guess I would say, of, or do we have a developing situation?
I have a feeling there's going to be an intersection of a hell to the nah and a favorite team of ours, and they're going to be the one to deliver.
Have you been looking at
No.
Virginia?
I think if Virginia is a 32 to 35-point dog this year, we may want to take them in one of those circumstances.
Wouldn't that be something? My nephew has just started at UVA Law. He is there in Charlottesville. I just talked to him the other day. I could just call him and have him walk into the bookstore and get the Virginia gear that we would need if Virginia, in fact, ends up becoming the hell to the nah team that pulls it off.
Historically, much to our chagrin, they have the chutzpah to pull off such an upset. So,
well, against our ass, yeah, sure. Yeah. And then they have guys being Hercules under center who can't play.
I mean, how big of a dog were they against Louisville last year?
I know, but they were right there.
Oh, they were right there.
They were right there. And just because the return of football is upon us, we should probably honor Virginia as we want to do any given weekend with our Here Comes Virginia. We are in mid-season form.
That was October form.
My goodness gracious. That was Lennon McCartney right there. That was, woo. Crank it.
Oh, no.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Blountstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Combine that with model year-end closeout incentives, and you get the perfect storm of huge savings. And my managers are threatening to keep me up on the roof until we sell a bunch of cars and trucks. So make me a reasonable offer. I'll do whatever it takes to get myself off the roof. Like 0% interest for 6 years on America's #1 selling SUV, the Nissan Rogue, and up to $5,300 in total savings on the red-hot Nissan Altima. Or take up to $10,500 off MSRP on the Nissan Titan with America's best factory truck warranty, 5 years or 100,000 miles, bumper to bumper. And as always, our exclusive lifetime warranty. And they wonder why Tallahassee is a Nissan town, a Kraft Nissan town. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco.
Have you ever noticed when you report an accident or a claim to an insurance company, they are very eager to get you to one of their approved body shops. They say that they guarantee the shops work, but what they're really saying is the shop works for them, not the customer. So choose a shop that is working for and looking out for you, someone you trust. It's your choice. Lisa's Paint and Body.
License number MP46050. Bubba's Pizza on Appalachia Parkway, home of delicious New York-style pizza, calzones, Phillies, and salads, is celebrating 2 years in Tallahassee. Haven't tried Bubba's? Stop into the Appalachia Parkway location downstairs from Corner Pocket Bar and Grill today. Today only, $1.50 cheese slices and cans and bottles of beer. That's Bubba's Pizza on Appalachia Parkway.
Wonder what the outrageously energizing experience of Mountain Dew Kickstart is like? Well, it's like a combo of 3 awesome things. Dew, juice, and caffeine, rebooting your entire personal operating system.
Mountain Dew Kickstart is in position for consumption. All systems cleared for launch. Initiate launch sequence. T-minus 3, 2, 1, mark. Release the Mountain Dew Kickstart. Mountain Dew Kickstart released. Experiencing a charge of Mountain Dew Kickstart now.
Mountain Dew Kickstart operation successful.
You are now off the couch and out exploring the world. Roger that.
Get charged up for what's coming next, anytime, anywhere, with Mountain Dew Kickstart. Available in 10 energizing flavors like mango lime, raspberry citrus, midnight grape, and orange citrus. Mountain Dew Kickstart. Fuel with flavor.
RCD Shell knows how to keep you cool and refreshed. All 20-ounce Pepsi and Mountain Dew products are 2 for $2.22. That's right, 2 for $2.22. And 28-ounce Gatorade is buy one, get one free. It's more fun with Pepsi and Dew, so bring on the bubbles with these cool prices at RCD Shell.
If you've been suffering from a chronic illness and prescription drugs aren't working, it's time to seek alternative treatment. Dr. Joe Dorn provides evaluations and ordering of natural products for patients who qualify under the new Amendment 2 law. To make an appointment with Dr. Dorn or for a free e-visit, go to mmtcfl.com. That's mmtcfl.com. Visit Dr. Dorn at our Tallahassee MMT Clinic on Capitol Circle Northeast, next to the Cake Shop. It's time to stop suffering and seek affordable and compassionate care.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Can I play with madness? Holy Jesus.
It's not long now. We'll see you guys over at Corner Pocket, a little over an hour. Did you see the sucker punches from during the Yankees Tigers fight yesterday, Tigers brawl? Gary Sanchez just steady sucker punching people who were already on the ground. Can't do it, man. No. Caught on film more than once while guys on the ground being held, just rolling up on somebody and bam! Now, Sanchez becomes that villain. It was talked about a lot with the sucker punches. He punched Miguel Cabrera in the pile. He was pulled away. And then he punched Castellanos, who was on the ground, prone, being held by somebody else. He had several uppercuts thrown to just random Tigers who were laying on the ground.
That's not what you do.
No. So I want to at least note this because it's from that moment forward that you could probably count the over-under on how many times other teams from around the league randomly bean Sanchez. The code is the code, baby, and it is enforced. When Ricky Henderson slid into home after hitting a home run, a walk-off home run, and then he slid into home plate, he was hit several times in the weeks afterwards by teams that had nothing to do with nothing. Just guys plunking him in the middle of the back, and it was apparent to everybody that he was being thrown at. And later on, I remember reading that people were just frustrated by his disrespect for the game, if you will. They thought it was silly. Now, that one, I'm not going with that one, man. You want to slide into home on a walk-off? I don't care. Sliding into home in a 1-0 game in the second inning after a home run might warrant a plunking, and is something he also did in his career.
That's way better. If you're going to do it, that's ruthless.
He did do it. He did do it.
That's why that Bryce Harper, well, when I'm back in my dugout thing, is a half measure. When I'm back to the safety of my own dugout, I shall flip my hair.
Yeah. But the slide into home after a home run early in the game warrants a beating. Walk-off, you could cartwheel into home plate. I don't give a damn. I'm walking off the field. The game's over. Do whatever you want. Moonwalk down third into home. It doesn't make a difference.
Man, who was the guy for the Angels that blew his ACL when he did the jump?
Morales, wasn't it?
Kendrys Morales. That's exactly right.
He jumped on home plate, and his foot slipped, and he blew out his knee. He's never been the same. He made it back to the league, but he's never been the same. He was having a career year.
Oh, he was killing it.
Yeah. And then, oops. Yeah, remember when they all kind of unpiled, and he's just laying there writhing? You want to talk about the ultimate revenge for the other team, just like to point and laugh?
Well, remember the aftermath of it? All the teams did it, and then everybody kind of
stopped. They were like,
everyone's like, all right, we're going to hop up and down.
Side next to you.
Yeah, disperse.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, hey,
slowly
listen.
backing away.
Let me tell you something. When Jameis came charging out of the tunnel for practice in celebration of the fans, and he was jumping up and kicking his heels, and do you remember when he landed awkwardly and kind of, I'm like, hey, man, no, we don't need all that. I know you're supposed to be a good enough athlete. Oh, as another thing, as an aside, another part of Hard Knocks. Holy moly, Jameis has gotten in shape and much stronger than he used to be. What's crazy is I have never seen those pull-ups where you flip your hands and catch yourself and go back and forth each way. No.
Yeah, that ain't easy.
That doesn't look like fun, did it? I thought, holy, Anthony's there working out with him, cracking me up. First of all,
yeah, they got him some time on the screen.
They're cracking me up. I see you, Ant.
He's just looking straight in the camera when they're
just
talking,
smiling. Yeah, it made me laugh. I love Antonor. He's hilarious. I saw you, brother. He cracked me up. Out there working out. I'm sure you weren't doing those push-ups where you had to catch the wall with your hands.
What about where he has to remain in the squat position?
And they're just beating him with the ball?
Yeah.
He's slapping him?
He's slapping him around trying to get him to fumble.
How many seconds he was sitting there?
You have to stay in the crouch?
2, yeah. Oh. No.
That is some lactic acid, sir.
Man, he's getting strong. He's getting after it. There's a lot of it's kind of fun to watch that.
Man, I'll tell you, when in the week 2 end-around play that they put on Hard Knocks, the Deshaun Jackson, he ends up colliding with his own offensive lineman near the sideline.
I know, and I thought, are you kidding me?
In live speed, I got out of my chair. No. No.
You get up.
I like Godwin, but I don't need him yet.
No, you get up. You stand up. Yeah, it was weird because he didn't expect it. The lineman fell into his knee out of bounds. It was awkward.
All the makings of how that happens.
Oh, come on now. Yeah, we can't have nice things. That's what ends up happening.
Yeah, like the Mets.
Oh, well, you guys are screwed. Everybody on your team's hurt.
Conforto tore his shoulder.
Your best player.
On a swing.
I saw it when it happened. He went down. You heard me yell out here.
Yeah,
you were in here.
I know.
And I saw the swing and saw him instantly writhe in pain and fall to the ground. I went, he's a tough guy. People aren't falling to the ground if they didn't do some serious damage.
This is who we are. This is who we will always be.
It's actually shocking. You're not even kidding a little bit.
I'm not fan guy overstated.
That is who you guys are. Since we became close, I pay attention to the Mets in a way like I used to in the early and mid-'80s, just because they're your team. And I have never seen such nonsense. You guys are just the walking wounded at all times. It's almost like I would hate your team doctors. I would be resentful.
Well, hello. Yeah,
I would throw rocks at them if they came anywhere near the stadium. I would try to stone them to death.
I've thought about it.
It's ridiculous.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
MyBookie.ag. MyBookie is an industry-leading website and the best place for you to cash in on all the hooks, jabs, and knockouts. Join now and MyBookie will match your deposit with up to a 100% bonus. Check out all the odds and props available at MyBookie. Start winning big today. Are you sick and tired of getting the runaround when you ask for a withdrawal? With decades of expertise, no hassle payouts, and no fine print, you'll experience the greatest customer service in the business. Guaranteed. Use promo code RADIO to activate your bonus of up to 100%. Call 844-900-2387 or visit mybookie.ag to open an account. That's 844-900-BETS and use promo code RADIO. Bet with the biggest. Win with the best. Only at MyBookie. Sign up today.
Tallahassee loves the corner pocket as much as a crystal ball winning catch.
He's looking, he wants it to the end zone. It's Benjamin! Touchdown! With 13 seconds left.
The 97.9 ESPN radio special is a must-have every Monday and Wednesday at the corner pocket. 10 mouth-watering wings, a fresh side of fries, and a chilled domestic pint of beer are just $9.79 all day long. Be sure and try the fish blend of sauces, a true wing eater's favorite. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
He's gone!
Home of Trivia Tuesday, Beer Bingo Thursday, and the daily $7.99 lunch special.
Miller's Tree Service, we go out on a limb for you.
Hey, this is Clay Culpepper with Miller's Tree Service. Summertime is here and storm season is right around the corner. We offer free consultations with a certified arborist where we meet with you and advise you on which trees are healthy, diseased, dead, or ones that may need trimming or even removal.
Miller's Tree Service, we go out on a limb for you.
Give us a call at 894-TREE.
Oh no! My lunch has been ravaged by ants.
Go to Bandito's Burritos. This year's Kingfish Tournament is in the books. Although the weather wasn't the best, over 55 boaters registered for the tournament, and Sea Quarters Marina would like to thank everyone that came out. $50,000 was raised for leukemia research this year, which brings the total to $915,000 over 14 years. The winning kingfish, caught by Team Bill Collector, weighed 47 pounds, and the winning Spanish mackerel, caught by Team Neil Brooks Electric, weighed 5 pounds. Additionally, fishermen donated approximately 1,000 pounds, which will be sold to raise funds for leukemia research. Sea Quarters Marina hopes to see you at the 2018 Kingfish Tournament.
Broadcasting live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. Clemson's Dabo Swinney will now be the second highest paid college football coach in the country, behind only Alabama's Nick Saban. Swinney gets a new contract extension through 2024 that will pay him an average of $6.7 million a season. Mayweather-McGregor is tomorrow night in Las Vegas. The weigh-in is today, the fight at 154 pounds. McGregor, who has worked his way up the MMA ladder, now takes on the unbeaten boxer Mayweather. Live coverage of the McGregor-Mayweather weigh-in starts at 6 Eastern on ESPN. Mets outfielder Michael Conforto will go on the DL. May need surgery on his left shoulder. He got hurt on a swing and miss Thursday against the Diamondbacks.
Experience why for nearly a century men have trusted Barbasol for a close, comfortable shave. Whether it's extra moisturizing with vitamin E or soothing aloe, all you have to do is sit back and bask in the glory of your close shave. You're looking good, America. You're shaving with Barbasol.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Libations Friday, brought to you by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachian Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show, at least for this week. And I thank you for tuning to it. A glorious Libations Friday to you and yours. If I'm not going to see you tonight at the listener appreciation party, I'm sorry about that. Wish you guys could make it. It's going to be at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Starting at 6 o'clock, first $2.50 through the door. You're getting yourself a commemorative T-shirt as made by our friends at Full Press Apparel. As always, thank you to them. Hopefully you'll make it. It's our way of saying thank you for the support, for your listenership, and to all of our sponsors as well who stay on board and allow us to do this job. We're very, very lucky, and we know it, especially as we enter into football season. So that's tonight. If you didn't have something to do and you were kind of wishy-washy, maybe you would roll on in over to the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill starting at 6 o'clock. Tom and myself, we'll be there around 6:30. And somewhere in that neighborhood, 6:20, 6:30. But let the party begin. It's all right, because listen, the party is beginning. Crown Royal folks are going to give you some product samples when you get there.
That is correct.
If you want them, if that's your thing.
And if you're 21 and up, of course.
I don't think there's going to be 16-year-olds at the thing, is there?
I don't know. Our, demographics and
it's
listenership
so broad.
expands.
We really do. We include everything from 8-year-olds and old women to young professionals to everything in between, right?
What's funny is you come full circle, and I think there's appreciation from the very young and the very old about playing checkers. It seems like the perfect checkers match is that of a grandfather against an 8 or 9-year-old grandson. Yeah.
Yeah, because most people outgrow checkers.
Exactly.
So then when you get old and you don't have all your faculties like you once did, maybe checkers is your speed.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. There's a circle of life element to checkers.
My oldest son is a chess-playing fool, and he's good at it, and he has yet to beat me. But I know that day is coming. I don't want him to know that. But I know that at some point it'll happen, and he gets very frustrated when his dad beats him. Because I may or may not taunt. I may or may not trash-talk my 9-year-old son before playing chess. Oh. I may or may not put some pressure on him to rise up to the moment. I may ridicule a move here or there in which he somehow, some way overlooked an obvious opportunity to put me in peril when he doesn't make it. Those are the kind of decisions that lead to losses, Bryce.
Man, you're preparing him for life? Is that what it is?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, hey, it's okay. If he beats me, I'm going to let him trash talk me. I can take it. It's okay. We go back and forth. It's like me and my stepdad in the front yard playing basketball in the driveway. His fouling ass. I was forever driving past him, rising up. He's a lot shorter than me. When I got taller than him and was developing the game, he couldn't handle it. So every time I dribble drive, I ended up in the hedges.
Did he just shove you?
Oh, he just straight up fouled the bejesus out of me. Not just a shove. It was an elbow to the ribs. He'd ride me into the damn hedges.
Well,
And if I called foul, he'd be like, oh, so we're going to be soft out here? And so the thing I liked about it was I'd say, oh, so we're playing real. Okay. Fouls are fouls then. Or they're not. Go ahead, drive. And so it was go time. And when I finally beat him, I remember my mother was almost in tears just clapping. That serves you right, Bob. You've been fouling him for years.
Boy, Bob couldn't let it go, could he?
No, it's all right.
I get pride.
Let me tell you something. You'll have it too.
All right.
Have a boy and then tell me you're not out there talking junk when he's getting close to being good enough to beat you in golf.
Oh, well.
Oh, see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
See, it's a little bit more home.
Yeah.
You're gonna hate it. It'll be a little. All it is, it's just a little. We like to play mind games. It's a little nudge, just a comment here or there, a little passive aggressive sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, big putt. You ever made one of these in your life?
Yeah, like man, if that goes in, that could
Boy.
turn everything around. Is that right to left? Are you reading it right to left?
It's got to be right to left.
Is that what you're reading?
Remember, it's outside the cup now. You have a tendency to miss them on the low side.
Right. It's glorious. Disguised as advice. Helpful advice.
I will tell you. My dad and I had some wars on the basketball court like most fathers and sons do, but he was crafty. He was one of those guys with the sharp elbows, that kind of thing.
Sure. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
No, and here's the deal. You don't let your kids win. No, when they're toddlers, you let them win. When they're starting to come into their own and starting to learn how to play, you don't let them win. You're doing them a disservice.
My dad had a killer hook shot. Of course he had a killer hook shot.
Yeah.
He was a throwback. That's what he was. He'd drive to his left, and he'd fire up some kind of hook from the baseline, and it would be bottoms every time.
Nonsense here.
Not off the backboard. It would just be off the back of the rim and in. It was really, really frustrating.
By the way, in mere moments, we will segue over to some Buccaneer football talk with our friend Lee DeKemper from JoeBucksFan.com. And, oh, by the way, on JoeBucksFan.com, the website, you can listen to the introductory podcast, the Scuttlebucks, in which Tom and myself are talking all things Tampa Bay Buccaneer football. We'll be moving forward each week on Wednesdays with that program, if that's your cup of tea. Should be noted that Matthew Thomas was at today's luncheon, kickoff luncheon, that is, for Florida State. That's real good news. Quite assuredly, he would not be at said luncheon in his jersey if, in fact, he was not going to be reinstated and ready to play some football. Now, he's not all the way back just yet, and even when he does get back, I think it should be noted that he hasn't been practicing for some time now, so not real sure exactly what we're going to get from him in this first game against Alabama. But if he's in good shape, if he's kept himself in good shape, he's certainly experienced enough as a fifth-year senior to certainly know what we're running.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. But another thing just to point out about Jimbo's demeanor as it pertains to the Matthew Thomas topic, I mean, when in his history, really, with a player, to pull a Corey Clark here for a second, has he said something akin to, he'll be back very, very, very soon?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, he is going above and beyond, well, we'll wait and see. I mean, sometimes he will pull the we'll wait and see card. Well, we'll have to see. We'll have a thing. When the thing comes, I'll let you know. I mean, something like that where you're just like, okay, I'm not sure what the hell Jimbo just said. In this instance, for days he's
Think
been
about
saying,
how many times I've had to stop and go, I'm not sure what the hell Jimbo just said.
Well, we'll see when things and
He's got
things
a
and
knee.
times get
He's
right
got a knee.
with things.
Yeah.
Oh, I hated that, man. My second year on the beat,
He's
I
got
said,
a knee.
Yeah, he says that all the time, and I asked him where whatever player's knee was at. He pointed at his knee. I go, are you kidding me? You're the king of saying that.
Yeah, come on now.
But, I mean, even the last week or two, he said, well, he'll be back soon. He's going to be back soon.
It was
Matthew
a process,
Thomas
no
will be
doubt.
back.
Obviously, he had to have taken, I mean, my guess is, and it's a guess, is taking correspondence courses or something to get on track. I mean, this seems like it was an academic issue, certainly not a severe cold. That's what I'm going with, and hopefully everything's worked out. So if he's back, great. That's good news. And it's also good news that Jimbo's speaking very highly of the way the team practiced. And so we're kind of all set, man, on this, the first weekend where college football will be played, Florida A&M tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Hopefully they get the win. Game number 1 here at Bragg. You can go to that game. 25,000 plus, I think, will. Should be a great afternoon. Starts at noon, kicks off college football. And then the game is also on ESPNU, I might add, if you're not in town or you're not heading over there. But you can watch that. And then that gets you set for an all-day sort of sit back and watch some of the games. I'll grant you there's not huge games, but it could be a lot of fun. Hey, as an aside, and again, we'll make way for some for some Tampa Bay Buccaneer football talk here in a second. Then later I want to bring up some things involving college football, in particular Dabo Swinney's big contract, so don't think I'm ignoring it. I did touch on it in the first hour. Did you see that basically it came out that Aguayo had a terrible day at practice for Chicago?
Oh, I was going to, man, that's so far out of.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, no, Roberto Aguayo.
You got to be kidding me.
No, no. Roberto Aguayo had more kicking troubles. Man, I'm telling you, I just want to say this. As good as he can be, and we know what he was, a 3-time first-team All-American at Florida State, and arguably the greatest kicker in college football history, and he's been anything but in the pros. I'm not picking on him now. I really, really believe he's going to have to step away from football for the year. I mean, you saw the kick in Chicago, his first, that was so wayward.
Maybe he should go on a Ricky Williams journey, you know?
He needs to go on a journey of some sort. I don't know. Did he and Baker Fitch go on a journey and ever figure it out? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know, but I need this journey to begin because I'm continuing to read. You know, he was claimed off of waivers, and here's the quote from the practice from John Fox today. I think our kicker had a bit of a struggle with some of the field goals, but it's something we've known about Roberto. He's got a very strong leg, but his accuracy, that's why we're certainly practicing. We don't need to do that. Yes, sir.
Jesus, John.
I know.
It's like 1.5 weeks with the kid.
Less. Akin to saying, so Roberto sucks.
It's like 4 practices with the kid.
That's crazy, right? A little bit more than that, isn't it? He
Wasn't
played
cut
last week.
Oh, no, he's cut after week 1, not the Jacksonville game.
Yeah, not the Jacksonville game. I was going to say, he's been there a little while.
Jesus.
Louis DeKemper, JoeBucksFan.com. That's next. Stay tuned.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
You get access to all their wholesale tickets. Go to Anytix.com today. That's Anytix, T-I-X-X. Enter the coupon code ESPN Tally and get 20% off your subscription. Anytix.com, changing the way you buy tickets.
Parker Brothers Roofing says don't play games with your roof. Protect your home and your family. The Parker Brothers tell you the truth. We'll fix your roof, 'cause it's what we do. With quality, integrity, and pride. Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
Hey, I'm Travis with Parker Brothers Roofing. Some roofers are like a bad boyfriend. They make lots of promises, but in reality, they're just cheap. They don't own up to their mistakes, and they leave you with a lot of regret. Parker Brothers Roofing stands behind every installation, and if a mistake is made, we own it and fix it. Our customers never have to worry about being left behind for the next job. At Parker Brothers, it's quality that builds our quantity. Call us at 656-8112.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
License number CCC 049350.
Bama versus FSU.
Down the sidelines, touchdown, Seminoles, rumbling all the way touchdown, Bama.
ESPN Tallahassee's Jeff Cameron is heading to Atlanta for Bama Beatdown. Brought to you by Fred Conrad, criminal defense lawyer. Remember, don't blow it. Call 222-4005.
Bubba's Pizza on Appalachia Parkway, home of delicious New York-style pizza, calzones, Phillies, and salads, is celebrating 2 years in Tallahassee. Haven't tried Bubba's? Stop into the Appalachia Parkway location downstairs from Corner Pocket Bar and Grill today. Today only, $1.50 cheese slices and cans and bottles of beer. That's Bubba's Pizza on Appalachia Parkway.
Hey, Wally Woodham here. In 1974, I set the national high school passing record at Leon High with 3,560 yards.
Jimmy Jordan here. Wally, I broke your passing record at Leon the very next year.
Well, Jimmy, in our 3 years together at FSU, I threw for 22 touchdown passes.
Wally, that's pretty good, but I had 39.
Well, Jimmy, look at the deal I got at AAA Transmission.
That's a pretty good deal, Wally. At least your car's a winner.
Don't put off your auto repairs. Stop in at AAA Transmission and ask for owner Tim Pridgeon, servicing Tallahassee for over 30 years. AAA Transmission, 1023 North Monroe Street, or call them at 222-2532.
You wake up to birds chirping before the alarm even starts to ring. It's 6 a.m. and dawn's barely here. A choir of birds singing in your ear. It was cute at first, but now it's just the worst. Wrap it up, guys. When your morning is hell, just go to Taco Bell.
When you've had a morning, let us make you breakfast, like Taco Bell's Breakfast Crunch Wrap. A whole breakfast wrapped up and grilled to eat on the go. At participating stores for a limited time during breakfast hours.
It's Super Saturday at Kohl's. Shop early birds until 1 p.m. to save big. Boys Carter's tees are just $7.99, and Junior's graphic tees are $9.99. Fashion sneakers are $24.99. Kitchen electrics are only $9.99, and the Big One bath towel is just $3.99. Everyone gets $10 Kohl's cash for every $50 spent. Earn it on everything, spend it on anything. This Saturday, it's Super Saturday, only at Kohl's. Select styles, some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
You're listening to the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Yes, sir. Let's talk some Buccaneers football. Jeff Cameron Show, Libations Friday edition of the program. Loosey-goosey as we're wont to be on this glorious day. Also a day where in a little bit we'll see you at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill for the 6th annual Listener Appreciation Party, Libations Friday Fest. Come on out. The first 250 through the door get a T-shirt commemoration of the event from our friends at Full Press Apparel. There will be ample amounts of beer and like-minded folks celebrating the return of football. And just our way of saying thank you so much for being loyal listeners of the program and being a part of what we do. In this moment, though, we step aside from that talk and get into some real football talk here with our friend Lee DeKemper. JoeBucksFan.com, the website. Go check it out. Always new information, constantly updated there. All things Buccaneers as they move towards another preseason game and the start of the season. Lee, how are you, brother?
Jeff, thanks for having me on again. I appreciate it. And, hey, craft beer and football, just to talk football, the return of football, that's almost worth me driving up to Tallahassee for.
You should do it. You should come on up. You get in the car. You can make it at the tail end of the celebration. And by the way, when the celebration ends, which is technically at 9 o'clock, I'm not driving, buddy. I'm staying. So
Over city, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've got friends who gave up drinking years ago because they overserved themselves for too long. So they'll act as an Uber, or I'll just call actual Uber. You know how it goes.
Yeah, exactly.
So good times. All right. So hey, listen. Every week we get a chance. We talk. You and I do about the Bucs, and we're doing this now on the heels of new episodes of Hard Knocks, which I think has really shown the organization in a great light, the city in a great light, and in the direction of a team that I think if you were neutral and you really didn't have a team and you were trying to invest in one, this would be a fun storyline to follow. You've got a nice mixture of veterans and youthful exuberance and talent on the rise, and expectations that continue to rise. What's the latest big picture for the Bucs as they head into this preseason game with Cleveland?
Well, stay healthy, first off. That's for sure. They're looking at the linebackers right now. I think the biggest issue is not the right word, and concern is not the right word. Question mark is a better term. Linebacker. Who's going to start at linebacker? And right now, it sure looks like Kendall Beckwith will be starting at the at the strong side linebacker position. He's a rookie, drafted third round out of LSU. If I remember correctly, he blew a knee against the Gators in December. And he had a miraculous recovery. Had he not had that knee injury, he easily would have been a second-round pick. And this guy's a monster. I was talking to him yesterday at the end of practice, and Robert Ayers came by, and he started going, "You call him a monster. He's a monster. He's a monster." And this guy's done nothing but put the smiles on the faces of all the coaches, including Mike Smith, including Dirk Cutter. This guy looks like he's going to be a steal. They're training him at 3 different positions at linebacker, but as we speak, it sure looks like he's going to be a starter. And Saturday night, if Beckwith plays well, he could easily cement himself as the strong side linebacker for the Bucs.
Huge news, because when he was drafted at the time, I remember thinking, man, they're obviously drafting him not for this upcoming season, but they'll probably work him in slowly and get him ready for the following year, because as we sit here today, Lee, he's basically 9 months off that knee injury, an ACL injury at that, and you're just thinking, well, it'll be awfully tough for him to get on the field in this first year. He's a big kid, 240, 250 pounds. To hear that he's that versatile and that they're looking at playing him right away and that he's maybe earned it and won the job. Well, I don't say maybe. They don't play anybody who hasn't earned it. Is huge news.
Oh, it's huge news. Against Jacksonville, he had 2 tackles for loss. He was tied on the team with Levani David and with I can't remember his name. He's
Quan Alexander?
He's another guy. No, Glanton.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Adarius Glanton, and that's who he's fighting with for the starting job. By the way, all 3 guys tied for the team lead against the Jaguars with 2 tackles for loss. Beckwith is a monster, as Robert Ayers said, and the Bucs are giddy, not just for the fact that he's healthy, not just for the fact that it looks like he's going to win that starting position, but they're force-feeding him to play all 3 positions. And so far, from what Mike Smith told me yesterday, I had a long chat with Mike Smith about linebacker play, about cornerbacks. He said Beckwith is handling everything they throw at him. And it's a really cool relationship between Mike Smith and Quan Alexander, for example. Regularly, almost every day, Quan Alexander shows up at $1 an hour before he's supposed to, and he sits down with Mike Smith. They just have a private one-on-one, and they go over what the goals are, what he needs to work on. It's like a brain session. It's like a chalk talk session, just one-on-one. Those 2 guys have a fantastic relationship. And apparently, from what Beckwith told me, he's dropped in on a couple of those brain sessions, and that's another reason he's building rapport with Mike Smith, and that's another reason why he's grasping everything so quick. The Bucs are beyond happy, not just the fact that he's healthy, but he's grasping everything, and he's learning, and he's improving. And they think they may have a big-time steal in their hands with Beckwith.
We're talking to Lee DeKemper, JoeBucksFan.com, the website. Lee, let's flip to the other side. We're always worried about depth, and really, in a salary cap league, every team's worried about depth, quality depth, that is, but especially along the offensive line. Any news there in that group, and how are they looking as we get closer to the start of the season?
Well, I think they're looking better than some suggest. And what I mean by that is DeMar Dotson, starting right tackle, he's going to be out the rest of the preseason. And in the immortal words of Greg Schiano, DeMar Dotson has a groin. So he won't be playing until Miami. Schiano was famous for saying that.
Yeah.
So at any rate, the Bucs have said this. Dotson's told me this, that it's a green light for him to play at Miami, just precautionary. They're holding him out. I think the guy's 31 years old. He's a veteran. He doesn't really need preseason, so they're just resting him and playing it safe. And I don't blame the Bucs for doing that. So at any rate, the Bucs have had this in place since last year. That what they call a swing tackle. What it is the backup tackle. Whether Donovan Smith goes down, who by the way has never missed a snap, or if Dotson goes down, they would use Kevin Pamfield as the backup tackle, swing tackle. Obviously, Pamfield is a starting left guard. But he's that good and he's that versatile, they can virtually play anywhere on the line outside of center. Last year, I remember at the bye week, Dirk Cutter had said the offensive lineman for the Bucs who graded out highest was Kevin Pamfield. And I can also tell you that I've talked with suits at $1 place. They're scared to death they might lose him this year. And he's a free agent after the season. They're scared to death they might lose him. As you suggested, it's almost a calamity in the NFL offensive line play. And the fact that Pamfield is so versatile and he's good, they're figuring, boy, he could hit the lottery if he gets not the lottery, but he could have a hell of a payday if he gets out on the open market. And the Bucs are scared of that because, they see what's coming around the corner. Mike Evans has to be paid. Jameis has to be paid. Quan Alexander has to be paid. You go down the list. And so right now the Bucs are starting to watch their nickels and dimes because they know what's going to happen down the corner. They're going to have to make some tough decisions, and that's why they're scared about Panfield. But Panfield, I think, will be just fine. The Bucs will be just fine. If Dotson can't go for whatever reason, Panfield could slide over, and he'll do really well. And Cutter, this training camp, I don't know if it's shtick. I don't know if it's show. I don't know if it's a motivational ploy. More often than not, Cutter comes off the field and he's complaining and being a female dog about how the practices have been bad. And Wednesday, he comes off the field and he was kvetching about, we had a rotten practice. And someone asked him, was there anything good about practice? And he shot back, Kevin Panfield playing right tackle.
Well, I think that this is the first time in a long time that I can remember that it's a nice combination of veterans but also youth and talent. And I really, I'll be honest with you, Lee, I didn't think the Bucs were going to be able to get anything out of J.R. Sweezy. What are they saying about Sweezy? I'm switching to him now because if he's the guy he was before the injury and he missed all that time, you're talking about an infusion of real talent here with this group. I mean, really, really good run blocker, strong guy. It's kind of exciting. I had already chalked it up as a loss, but he's playing and playing well.
I did too, and as I stated before, my business partner, Steve Isbitz at JoeBucksFan.com, and I, we've done research. We cannot find anywhere, and one of your listeners know this, please email us. We'll give you credit. We might even give you a bonus of some sort. We cannot find anywhere where an offensive lineman missed an entire season, which Sweezy did last year. He didn't even practice once. The entire season he missed because of back surgery. We've done research. We can't find anywhere where an offensive lineman missed an entire season because of back surgery and the following season played all 16 games. We can't find that. But Sweezy thus far, he's learning. He was generally a left guard at Seattle. He's a right guard now. He's kind of learning. His teammates on the offensive line, they said, man, this guy gets his hands on you, it's all over with. And Sweezy's the Bucs have hidden Sweezy for the most part this training camp. Earlier in training camp, I saw him walking off the field. He was escorted by Bucs media officials, to shield him. And I asked, hey, can you talk? And Sweezy and I have a decent relationship. I asked if he could talk. He said, well, I'll talk tomorrow. And the Bucs media official, he said, yeah, Sweezy's available tomorrow. He wasn't available tomorrow. But I caught him last week in but I caught him last week in Jacksonville in the locker room. I trapped him. And he talked. He didn't say a whole lot, but he was adamant that he was fine. He was healthy. He was good. But to your point, that this is like a find in a sense because no one really expected Sweezy. I didn't expect him, just like you. This is almost like a find, an addition by subtraction in a way. Jason Light is really happy about this because he said the Bucs got better and bigger at two positions on the offensive line. They flipped Ali Marpet to center. He put on some poundage, and obviously Sweezy's a big dude. And so they got bigger and better at two positions on the offensive line, basically without adding a player.
Think about how excited I would be or you would be, we all would be if we were Jason Light and we drafted Ali Marpet and he's turned into this. I mean, it's crazy to think about a guy coming from Hobart College. What the hell? I mean, this is stunning. I mean, he projects to be elite. When you watch him, he has seamlessly segued from guard to center. It looks like he's played it his whole life.
Yeah, seamlessly is the perfect word. It was a perfect fit, like a glove. He's doing really, really well. And let's be honest, Jacksonville, you make fun of them. They're not a great team. They've got a rotten quarterback. They're good on the defensive line. They're good on he was going up against Calais Campbell. That's no slouch. And he did very well. So I think that, everything's thumbs up with the offense, specifically with Marpet. Everything's thumbs up right there, I believe.
Yeah, he's a likable dude, too. He's kind of played well on Hard Knocks. He seems like a pretty fun guy to talk to, an interesting cat.
I got to say this about Hard Knocks real quick. I thought last week, and I think you may have touched upon this, obviously I listened to your show via podcast. I think that episode or that scene when Jameis had an idiotic throw where it should have been picked off, but by the grace of God, it was a sack. When he came off the field, I thought the interaction between him and Cutter actually it was a one-way conversation.
Sure.
Cutter handled that perfectly.
Best he's done yet.
Sure
hey, Lee,
Jameis knew
you're nailing it.
He made sure. Am I nailing it?
You're nailing it. Because listen, I want to say this. And by the way, Lee's talking about not just this show, but also the Scuttlebucks, which is the latest podcast on JoeBucksFan.com. That's done by me and Tom. Tom and I will be doing that all year long. We're really, really looking forward to it. It'll air on Wednesdays. And go to JoeBucksFan.com to listen to it. It's going to be good because it's the two of us. But anyhow, the point is this. What I wanted to say was that I've had my doubts, and I kind of wanted to get that across on Scuttlebucks. I don't know that I did, but in the coming weeks, people will hear me. I'm looking very closely, sort of the 2 fingers to my eyes, 2 fingers back to you, with Dirk Cutter. I thought last year he coached scared at times, and he would even cop to it later on. And you and I had this conversation, right? Play calling got a little conservative, late in games, as if he didn't have a franchise quarterback. Now, some of that might be because said franchise quarterback does like to take some chances that oftentimes are unnecessary. It also could have very well been because, A, he's kind of a new head coach and learning as he goes, and B, they had one weapon. And so defenses could really lock in on a guy. But this year they don't have one weapon. They have lots of weapons, and they have an experienced, talented quarterback who's proven himself through his first 2 years that he's warranted, I think, greater responsibility in those situations. So I loved that interaction. It was the right mix of a stern sort of wag your finger, are you effing kidding me, while all the while acknowledging you're too good for that. I already know how great you can be, so don't give me that. You're freaking, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady good potentially, and you're going to give me that? That's beneath you. I thought that was perfect. It was perfect.
I did too. That's the word I used, perfect. Cutter made sure Jameis knew he was absolutely outraged at the play. And when he said, you're better than this, that was positive reinforcement after making sure Jameis knew that was unacceptable. And you're better than this. I thought that was perfect.
Yeah, hopefully it continues. Hopefully that relationship's fun to watch. And it's fun to watch anytime any really team in the league has a young and up-and-coming quarterback and a newer head coach, to watch their relationship blossom. And for us to be able to get it on Hard Knocks is really, really cool. Hey, Lee, we'll talk again real soon, buddy. I'm real excited. Thanks for bringing us on for the Scuttlebucks. It's going to be a fun show for us to do. And of course, we'll be talking every week, and we'll talk again next week after this latest preseason game.
Sure, and Steve and I are beyond excited, and your intro podcast, again, it's on JoeBucksFan.com right now. The feedback has been fantastic for it, so I'm really excited about this venture, and I'm happy to have you and Tom on board. I really am.
Thanks, brother. We'll talk again soon. Be well, man.
Have a good one, Jeff.
All right, you too. That's Lee DeKemper, JoeBucksFan.com, the website, and listen, just outside of the fact that we're now on that thing, we've had Lee on for some time. It's not just a self-promotion here. I think they do a good job of covering the team and getting you some inside information. They're constantly updating it. And, you can tell from listening to Lee, he's kind of a bulldog in his efforts to get information from players and coaches. And he's forged a relationship with Jason Light. That helps. And he's in the locker room all the time.
There's no doubt. And, like you said, they constantly updated. And when the Bucs finally were taking a turn for the better, I mean, it might have something to do with a franchise quarterback coming to town.
Maybe.
But I can tell you that I've consumed more Buccaneers media, independent of the Scuttlebucks, sir. I've consumed more Buccaneer media in the last 2 to 3 years than I had maybe since, 2002, 2001, just because it's exciting again. You can have a 9 or 10 win team and project towards, contending for a division. But it looked like it was going to be a one-off a lot of those years with John Gruden in the post-Super Bowl era. Now it feels like you've got something building that, it's going to have its lulls, but you have something that's building where you can average between 8 to 10 wins over the course of, 5 or 6 years, and that's the really exciting thing. It's more grassroots than even the Super Bowl was in 2002.
Who's your second favorite player on the team?
Quan Alexander was the first name that popped up in my head.
Mine's Ali Marpet.
I can understand why Ali Marpet would be.
He's a beast. And he seems smart and interesting, and it's an incredible story. And if you're Jason Light, you've made a lot of good decisions. You've made a couple poor ones. No GM gets it right every time. That's the one that you should walk around telling everybody.
I also think Ayers has been really, really important. And
well, I think he's been important, but just in terms of think about, yes, that's an acquisition, but think about in draft picks taking that kind of a risk.
Yeah,
I mean, I have to confess, I thought. I don't know, man.
We had that talk.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, how in the hell do you properly project a player from Hobart College? It's hard because they didn't face the same players and the level of competition that we're so accustomed to assessing people by. You watch a kid out of LSU. We were talking about Beckwith just a moment ago. Well, I saw him play linebacker in the SEC where they come right at you with some hosses running the football, and my man stuck his head in there week in and week out and made big-time plays. That translates. You know that translates. But it's impossible to say that somebody kicking ass at Hobart.
Yeah, I agree. But it was, if I recall correctly, the story here, it was
Senior
his
camp.
Senior Bowl performance
yeah.
out in Mobile.
Yeah.
And I remember, I think Joe Bucksfan reported it a couple years ago when we drafted him, that the Seahawks were really interested in taking Marpet just a few picks behind where the Bucs were. It was one of those classic, oh, you got to be kidding me. They were on him
They're
too.
on him too, yeah.
Situations. And thankfully we were. And hopefully the former Seahawk that he's playing next to, right guard J.R. Sweezy, is available all season long, because if that's the case, then all of a sudden when Doug Martin comes back in a few weeks, that Doug Martin looks different. He looks more like the cat who's capable of going for 1,400 yards than the one who's going for 600 in a season.
And it'll be a hell of a send-off for Doug Martin his last year in Tampa Bay. You know something I want to do, by the way? I want to reiterate something we talked about earlier in the show before we go, because people theoretically come in and out every 15 minutes. I couldn't have been more wrong. You couldn't have been more wrong. I think the vast majority of this fan base couldn't have been more wrong. Perhaps, even though they might not admit it, his own fan base and folks that were looking from afar and assessing the situation couldn't have been more wrong either. I'll tell you about that momentarily and who that is on the Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You can tell a lot about a tractor by its warranty. That's why Mahindra makes the toughest tractors on earth. With steel, not plastic. Backed by the industry's best limited powertrain warranty, period. Not 5 years, not 6 years, but a full 7 years on select models. No wonder the other guys are green with envy.
No money down, 0% interest, and no payments until July. Available at TNT Supercenter.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Cheese slices and cans and bottles of beer. That's Bubba's Pizza on Appalachia Parkway.
The following message is brought to you by Health Markets, your first choice when you need health insurance for your small business. Do you offer health insurance to your employees? Call us now and see if you can save money. Do you want to offer vision and dental to your employees? Call us. Do you think you're paying too much for your current health insurance? Call us. Do you want somebody else to do all the legwork and search thousands of health plans from over 180 health insurance companies nationwide? Call us. We're Health Markets, and thanks to a little-known solution, we could help your business save thousands of dollars on health insurance costs and save your employees money too. Our service is free. Don't miss the great savings. Call now.
800-478-0834. 800-478-0834. 800-478-0834. That's 800-478-0834.
Health Markets Insurance Agency is DBA of InSphere Insurance Solutions, Inc., licensed in all states. Product availability varies.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Libations Friday, brought to you by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachia Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Yeah, love that tune, especially on a day where we're about to embrace the mood of that song over at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, where we will partake here in just a short time with you guys, the 6th annual Libations Friday Fest with a giveaway list to beat the band. Good stuff right there, huh? Some of you are arriving right now. You're getting your shirts, right? 250 of you, first 250. Free T-shirts from our friends at Full Press Apparel that commemorate the event. I want to note that on the giveaway list for prizes for the raffle at the end of the night, we're going to begin that raffle at 8 o'clock. But the folks from Crown Royal will be there making sure that everybody's having a good time as well, offering free rounds of product samples, if you will, of Crown Royal. That doesn't suck. See, I don't like to say shots. Product samples, Tom.
Exactly right.
Product samples.
Well, you can't give away shots. You can give away samples.
Yeah. And so they're partnering up as well. And then, of course, we've got Saltwater Seafood Company giving away some dinners, Cigar City and Oscar Blues giving away some beer. We got my friends at Killarn giving away rounds of golf. We'll raffle off gift cards to Metro Deli and office lunches from Jersey Mike's, gift cards from Games for Less, a lesson with our friend Butch Bundy, who works with both Tom and myself. He's a PGA professional, of course, over at Killarn. War Chant's going to give you a chance at a annual subscription for free, a T-shirt and a tumbler, Seventh Hill Tap Room gift cards, a couple 100 wing, 3 domestic pitcher wing feast at the Corner Pocket, plus 3 $20 gift cards to Bubba's Pizza, which is just down below. Good pizza there, and a 50 wing fest feast to Hooters as well. So we'll have all that stuff. So that's good.
Pretty good chances, and everybody who gets there in a timely fashion will get 1 ticket for free, 1 per person, so nobody can stack the deck. This isn't somebody gets 20 raffle tickets and some other guy gets 2.
Yeah.
Everybody who comes gets a T-shirt.
That's a screw job when that happens.
Exactly
buddy.
Right, and we're just taking your money at that point.
Yeah,
you know?
it's just wrong.
No money. This is free. We want to give you things.
This is us saying, thanks, man. Thanks a lot. Or, ma'am. We do appreciate you, and we do. Hey, so what I was referencing towards the end of the last segment in a kind of botched or butchered tease, if you will, is that Dabo Swinney is just a hell of a lot better than we ever thought he had a chance to be, right? And, you know, I can understand. We weren't wrong. We weren't wrong, per se, initially when he, you know, it was a nightmare, just sort of a dumpster fire what was going on at Clemson at the time that he is given the keys. And it played out that way, you know, right off the bat. He's a 9-win guy, but they win the Music City Bowl. They lost 5 games that year. Nothing wowed you there. The next year, they're sub 500. And because he's kind of goofy, I mean, there's no real other way to put it. He's kind of goofy in a real lovable way, according to players, obviously. But the outward appearance of a guy that goes 6-7 a year after going 9-5 and a year after coaching 7 games when he first gets the opportunity and goes 4-3, you think average coach, silly disposition, doesn't feel like a head coach to me, feels a lot like a coordinator. Seems like he's trying to do too much to fit in or win guys over, and he's creating a persona. But it begins to change in 2011, and they win 10 games. And they go 10-4, and they're not great, but they do go to the Orange Bowl, and they lose that game in record fashion, and it's an embarrassment. And I think it was such a resounding defeat that we grouped that season, even though it was a 10-win season and an Orange Bowl appearance, we grouped that season into the others and said, again, we're looking at best a middling guy with a goofy personality. But crazy like a fox, he was relating to players. He understood he needed to surround himself with some people that could get the job done defensively. He made some great hires right off the bat, surrounded himself with smart people, and did a great job recruiting. And that's really where Clemson turned around. He got into the homes of these kids and convinced parents that he could be a father to their kids, that he would look out for them, and that they would win, and that Clemson was going to win. And then they began to do just that. And you see them win from that first double-digit win season for him in 2011. They win 10 games, and they win 11 games, and they win 11 games, and they win 10 games, and then they've had back-to-back 14-win seasons, including back-to-back appearances in a national championship contest, 1 win, 1 narrow loss. And so, you know, Clemson has arrived now as a team in the ACC that is, frankly, atop the heap Florida State has to regain that title. Florida State's not there now. Clemson is. That's the top team in the ACC that Florida State has to take out.
No, frankly, the evidence that we had for a good portion of time suggested exactly what we were thinking. I mean, go back to he couldn't beat South Carolina. He couldn't beat Steve Spurrier.
Well, he lost 5 in a row to South Carolina, and yeah.
In a couple of years, that should never have happened. And you think about the game down here in 2010. I mean, think about that game that we played.
It's crazy.
And how did they lose that game? The one where Dustin Hopkins walks off with the kick. Just for the people who are listening, not you.
Yeah.
I can see you know. But we on Monday, we're talking about that game going, wait a minute, you're trying to throw in the red zone? You're running down our throats. What are you doing?
Well, and you know what you find when it's not Nick Saban, who's made mistakes, but he rather infrequently makes mistakes. Alabama is in every game. They have an opportunity to win every game. Nobody blows Alabama out. There aren't these inexplicable, are you kidding me, moments with them very frequently. Every now and again, you kind of, ooh, that was interesting. But what you find is outside of that guy, Tom, whether it's Urban or Jimbo or in this case Dabo, everybody else has these moments where you could point to them and say, wow, that's a bad loss. So you're not going to find a whole lot of coaches without some of these moments where you're left incredulous. You can do that with, well, hell, we can do it with our own guy right here. But sometimes that means that we don't see the forest for the trees, right? We forget how hard it is to consistently win 11, 12 games every year and put yourself in a position to be a top-notch premier program, a destination program for assistant coaches and players alike. And I think it snuck up on us, and today's a day where they announce how much money Dabo Swinney is going to make, and a lot of people had to confront the fact that we all thought, certainly, that he was never going to make it, that he was kind of a doofus, lovable enough, I guess, but really wasn't going to get it done. Well, he has gotten it done. Clemson's consistently very, very good. They're the reigning national champions, and he deserved to be paid like one of the top 5 to 7 coaches in all of football, and now he is.
I think one of the interesting things is, we often talk about Coach Fisher, and I'll bring up, hey, man, reality check, this is his first coaching job.
Right.
A head coaching job, I should say. Same thing for Dabo. There's a parallel course that these two guys are on that at their first stop, major universities, a bit of a reclamation job to do. One an interim tag, one was the head coach in waiting and took over and had a more traditional off season into his first head coaching stint. They both have climbed the mountain. They both have won national championships at their first head coaching gig for power programs, and they're both in the same division. That's kind of unlucky for the two guys.
And they both got a huge indoor practice facility, and they're both fighting for Clemson. They've moved into their $55 million football facility. Jimbo's going to get that done here too. He is. It's just the beginning of it. So they've led to a rise in investment emotionally and financially amongst the alumni and fan base at their schools that almost ensures their place at the big table for years to come. And that's important because it takes the right guy to sway and convince people to make that kind of commitment, whether it's within the administration or whether it's the alumni and fan base or the local community. You got to get businesses on board. You got to get big money boosters on board. You got to get alumni on board. You got to get the average fan on board in your city. You got to get these people to invest in what you're selling. And that, too, is a big part of what you are as a college football coach. And you got to know your strengths and weaknesses and when to delegate and when to take on more responsibility. And, Dabo's proven that he can adapt. He made some mistakes early that we scoffed at, chuckled. In retrospect, it looks like a guy who was learning on the job like you just described. And we've watched Jimbo grow as a head coach, and we've certainly watched Dabo from afar. And I'll tell you, one of the best things to happen for me this year was going up there to Charlotte this summer. Last month and sitting down and talking with Dabo. I'm not trying to be a cheerleader, but I have ripped him at times, and I'm not shying away from those criticisms of the past. Some might have been accurate. Some were absolutely a misperception that I had, because sitting across from him, I found out he's pretty smart. He knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's doing. And he does have a charisma that kind of gathers you.
Well, and he knows the character he's playing. So if he's in on it, that makes you like him all the more.
That's true.
So you're gathering that he's in on it.
Yeah, I think so. And I think in that moment he was in on what was about to go down.
Right.
He knew what the deal was. We both kind of looked at each other and smiled. He knew the things that I've said in the past, not that he spends his days caring, but he was aware, because remember, he wouldn't sit down with me a year ago.
Correct.
So this has been a change. little bit easier to sit down with anybody after you win a national title. But it was his chance, and I think he wanted to test the waters there and see how that was going to go. And for me, it was a chance to test him a little bit and see how this would go. We both walked away. We shook hands and smiled with one another. He's a pretty smooth character.
But it's funny, if you want to look at, head coaches and paths to success in an alternate universe where we can't bring up Saban and Meyer, like you're not allowed to, so these are just the rules of looking at these two, you just don't see what Swinney and Fisher have done in first stints.
Not all that often. And when you do, those guys get paid, rightfully so.
No, but I'm just mean first head coaching job at a major university,
sure,
and they take you all the way to the top of the mountain. I mean, damn. Saban didn't do that. Meyer didn't do that. But Fisher and Dabo have.
Well, and I dare say Fisher and Dabo were...
I broke the rule. I brought them up. Sorry.
But also they were in better situations. Saban was never going to win a national title at Michigan State. But he certainly, when he got to the SEC, did.
I agree, but typically, the path is you have to bring in a coach who's established to a major university who can add credibility, not build it along the way.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. We do the thing where we reflect and back – here's the one comparison that I'll make. When Jimbo was deemed head coach in waiting and, how that was sort of a cluster at the time and the stuff that it caused in the locker room and the problems, I don't want to rehash all of that. But we thought at the time.
Yeah, the pregame of one particular game in September of 2009.
Sure, it's unbelievable. And there are a lot more things that happened with all of that not everybody knows. And there's no sense of bringing it up now. It's in the past, but just really kind of ridiculous. Well, that said, in retrospect, a little time removed from that, it was the right move. He got a chance to hit the ground running. He got a chance to start to recruit early. He got a chance to bring in a LaMarcus Joyner and change the face of the program. He wouldn't have been able to do that if they just brought him in from the outside. So that worked. Dabo Swinney, similarly, kind of got started from within and had an opportunity to survey what he needed to see changed.
Yeah, he's on the staff, and then he's an interim coach.
Right.
So, once they lift the interim tag, he already has, 2-3 months of relationships that he's formed as the head guy.
Yeah, so it worked out well. There are some similarities there. But now Swinney will be paid in the same way that the game's best coaches do. And so Jimbo's in that list, and Urban's in that list, and obviously Nick makes the most, and Harbaugh makes a ton of money too.
It's bizarre to think about because it started back about 10 years ago, maybe even a couple more when I was an undergrad. Remember when Clemson arrived on the scene out of nowhere in the recruiting game? Like, they just came out of nowhere.
And we were kind of...
That was with Bowden. That was before, Dabo had even taken over. They had a couple of classes where they got C.J. Spiller and a couple other superstars. And you thought, whoa, where is this team coming from in the ACC? They were never good when I was growing up. They were never good.
Well, and I was really young when they were. So that's how far back you had to go.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, so that's how far back you have to go. So it's impressive. I brought all of this up to just say I was wrong. There over the years, well, listen, when you're paid to give opinions on a daily basis, you're going to be kind of right and kind of wrong about a lot of things because you have to act so immediately. There's an immediacy to this. And so I don't mind all that. But I sustained a long stretch where I thought he was never going to work. I thought I saw things that I wasn't seeing, I guess. It worked. Also, one of the things you realize over time is that there are different kinds of head coaches. Some don't fit into that box of the way you perceive a head coach to be. And he's kind of one of those. But it doesn't mean that they have to. And that's something I've learned from watching and covering this game of college football for 20 years now, is that there are guys I would look at and say, that's not who I would hire. He doesn't even call plays. He doesn't even run the defense. He's a CEO. I want my guys to have their hands in there. I want them in the trenches. I want them to have their finger on the pulse. Well, that doesn't mean that the guy that's the CEO can't win and win big. I know what Bobby Bowden was, but when Bobby Bowden was young, he was innovative, he was forward-thinking, and he did have a lot to do with how this offense was run. So I'm talking about the early stages of a career. If I see a coach who's hands-off and isn't really in there coordinating anything or calling plays, what the hell you do? You surround yourself with people smarter than you, but there's actually a skill to that. Your great bosses, many of your best CEOs, one of the things they know is what they don't know. And that's very, very important. And I think Dabo Swinney, not to take a shot at all, because he does know football, but he understood what his limitations were and what he needed to do to offset that, and that's smart.
Well, I mean, think about any job. Think about your job. You know, you've been a lot of places. Well, two major places, but, you know, they have a different philosophy on how they do things.
That's right.
You know, the better one is the one that says, well, you do what you do, and I'll give you the tools.
That's right.
Rather than, you know, hey, I need you to do 10 things, and maybe
None of
I'll
them
give
great.
you some of the tools.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. How about you focus on what you do, and then we'll go get you whatever you need to do. So Dabo says, I'll get you the players.
Right.
You use your superior football knowledge and to just go execute at a high level, implement, develop, coach, and elevate what we do. But I'm going to get you the best players in the country to go do it with.
Well, yeah, and I think, too, that any head coach, I don't want to belittle them to the point where I think that they don't know anything about football.
I didn't mean that in that way either.
I know
heard
you didn't. Yeah, it's like, but yes, it makes sense to go get an elite coordinator like Brent Venables and let him be Brent Venables. Let him do what he does. Sure, Dabo, head coaches are always going to have an input, and same with the offensive side of the football. But you're going to let those guys be those guys. That's why you hire them. That's why you do that. That's the biggest complaint about NFL owners, for example, is when they dabble in all those decisions and they don't let GMs and coaches do what they do. Probables, fire it up. Here we go.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
All right, rattle these suckers off and make our way over to the corner pocket for the 6th annual Jeff Cameron Show. Libations Friday Fest Listener Appreciation Party. Woohoo! Cubs, Phillies, Quintana, Eichhoff. We got Mets, Nats, Jacob deGrom. I take it to beer. AJ Cole. We've got Mariners, Yankees, Ariel Miranda, CC Sabathia, Twins, Jays, Cologne, and Hap. Old guys. Orioles, Red Sox, Jeremy Hellickson, and Rick Porcello. We've got Royals, Indians, Jason Vargas, Ryan Merritt. Pirates will throw Ivan Nova. The Reds will throw Robert Stevenson. Padres, Marlins, Travis Wood, Adam Connolly. Rockies, Braves, Chad Bettis, Julio Teheran. Tigers, White Sox, Justin Verlander, Miguel Gonzalez. We've got Rays, Cards, Jake Odorizzi, Michael Waka. I remember you, Michael. Not fondly. Giants, D-backs, Ty Blatch, Zach Greinke. Rangers, A's, Martinez and Graveman. Astros, Angels, Colin McHugh, Parker Bridwell. And finally, golly, it is that Friday slate. Brewers, Dodgers, Chase Anderson, and Kenta Maeda. That's a look at those that shall reside on the bump.
Maybe somewhere down the road away.
All right, Tom, let's go have a good time. And I'll try not to knock over the shuffleboard by the evening's end, okay?
The hip check from the heavens.
Yeah. Well, got a little loose. People buy you stuff at these things.
They do.
Even when you say, I've had enough.
They say, nay, nay.
And then my problem is I can't say nay, nay. I go, well, I mean, it's dishonorable just to not take a sip from the man's drink he purchased for me. And that sip turns into me finishing the glass.
And all 22 ounces of it.
Good work out of you, sir. Great work, Matthew. To those that called and or listened, surely do appreciate it. Hope to see you shortly at the 6th Annual Libations Friday Fest at Corner Pocket. Take care. Have a great weekend, everybody.